It is that time of the year. Welcome, everybody, to my 2026 Formula One Championship predictions. We're going to go in reverse finishing order. 11th to 1st for the Constructors Championship, and then reverse finishing order 22nd through to 1st for the Drivers' Championship. We're going to talk about every single driver, how I think they're going to do during the season, and team. We're going to talk about every single driver and team, how I think they're going to do this season, and predict where I think they're going to finish in the championship. Now, each team and driver, there'll be a poll on screen for you guys to vote on where you think they'll finish. And then, yeah, I love doing this. We've done this every single year, basically, since I started making F1 content. And it's so fun to look back at the end of the year and see how right or how wrong I was. Now, last year's predictions some were pretty good. Some were pretty bad, and that was a pretty predictable year. This year is completely unpredictable. New regs, new engines, an extra team on the grid, systems that we don't even know how they're going to work yet. And, like, you know, certain drivers are going to be comfortable with the car. They're not going to be comfortable with the car. It is so hard to predict. And, yeah, I'm pretty happy with my predictions in the sense of, like, I don't know, maybe I just don't care as much this year because it is so random. I don't feel like I have to put too much brain power into it. I'm just kind of going off of vibes. However, the top 7 was very hard to predict because I think there's genuinely an argument for the top 7 drivers to finish different places in the top 7, depending on the car, on the engine, on the development race, and most importantly, how the drivers perform in those cars. And yeah, I really struggled with the top 7. But we'll get to the top 7 later on. So, let's start off with the Constructors Championship. Who do you guys think I have got in 11th place? Yes, 11 teams now on the grid. Who do you think I've got in 11th? Before each prediction, I'm going to ask you guys who you think I've got there, and then we'll run the polls for you guys to predict where you guys want them to go. GG, thank you for the follow. If you are watching on YouTube or TikTok right now, come join us on Twitch, twitch.tv/Ponden. That is where you can vote on the poll that will pop up on screen in a second. Cadillac, Aston, Cadillac, Aston, 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 Cadillac, Cadillac, Cadillac. Okay, so it's between them two. Who have I got, though? Who have I got? Okay, wait, let me just get better music. I want house music. I don't want vibey pop music. House mix. Okay. We just have music quiet in the background today. Okay. In 11th place, last in the championship, I am predicting the new boys on the block, Cadillac. Now, the poll is up in chat. Now, keep your eyes on this poll because it will change depending on the team and depending on the driver. But where will Cadillac finish? Type 1 in chat for 1st to 5th, 2 in chat for 6th, 3 in chat for 7th, 4 in chat for 8th, 5 in chat for 9th, 6 in chat for 10th, 7 in chat for 11th. So you basically just type in the corresponding number into chat and it will pop up on the poll. So, I've got Cadillac coming in 11th. Reason being, they're a brand new team on the block, right? Audi, obviously, are taking over a team. The staff already exists. The facilities already exist. They're coming in. The only benefit that they have got is that they are taking on a Ferrari engine, an engine that has already proven to be pretty good this season. But they have by far been the slowest to get up to speed so far in testing. Now, yes, obviously Aston Martin have had a lot of problems, but you got to remember, they've got one of the biggest budgets on the grid, and they got one of the biggest budgets on the grid, and their problems can hopefully be solved. Whereas Cadillac, I haven't really seen them progress so far this testing. They came out the gates really slow in Barcelona, and I was expecting to see them maybe move up a little bit, but no, they've just kind of been stuck in last. They've also done limited laps, limited good lap times. Look, put it this way. They might be able to beat another team, but I don't think they're finishing higher than 10th. If Cadillac, put it this way, if Cadillac finish 9th or higher, they've fucking smashed it. Yeah, I don't think they're finishing higher than 10th. And to be honest, I don't see I can't really see them not finishing 11th with how their testing has been. Like, I've genuinely seen zero progress. And I think people are really underestimating. Like, don't be wrong. Aston Martin is bad. But you got to remember, this is a brand new team. They're still hiring staff. They're still building facilities to build this car. Again, their only benefit is they got a Ferrari engine in the back of their car, but even that could be a limitation because they're having to build a car around the Ferrari limitations. But yeah, first year in Formula One, it's going to be a rough one. But I think it's the safe pick to put them in 11th. So yeah, Cadillac in 11th. A-Man, not Steno, Kagor, Norris Gurley. Thank you guys for the follows. All right, once you guys vote, in chat, let me know why you voted that. Right now, we've got a split between 10th and 11th. Okay. I think a lot of that is coming down to how bad the Aston looked rather than how good Cadillac looked. Aston Martin not going to recover so soon, you reckon? Checo and Bottas can score some points at least, you reckon? Ninth or higher, you shave your head. No. But I am confident that will happen, but I'm not showing my head. I mean, it's a new team, but I think that should be the expectation for them to be at the back currently. No, 100%. This is the thing, right? If another team finishes last, it is a disgrace. That is a failure. If Cadillac finished last, it's like, who cares? That's where we expected them to be. So they have that excuse of like, if they finish last, no one cares. No one's going to be like, fuck, pack it up, Aston, you suck. Aston first half of the season will be diabolical, but the season is long. Exactly. It's a very long season. I mean, even just look at Audi, which we'll talk about soon. How much they've progressed from test 1 to test 3. They progress so quick. So imagine how much teams will progress from Grand Prix to Grand Prix with more time, with more track time. Yeah, I think Cadillac is the one that's going to be limited the most with their development because they are a new team and they're still sorting things out. Anyways, we'll end the poll there. Majority of you guys saying 11th, just like myself, but a lot of you saying 10th as well, and a few people saying 9th. Okay, interesting. So this is how it looks on the standings. P11. All right. Next up, who do you guys think I've got in 10th? I feel like it's obvious from just the way I was speaking, but who do you think I've got in 10th, guys? Who do you think I've got in 10th? Yeah, I don't think we really need to tease it much more. In 10th, I have got Aston Martin. Holy crap. All right, poll is up for Aston. Get your votes in. Where do you think they'll finish? Again, type the corresponding number in Twitch chat. Look, coming into this season, I can't remember I can't remember where I put Aston Martin in my pre-season testing predictions, but I would have never predicted them to be bottom 2 before the season started. And here we are. They missed one day of Barcelona shakedown, and they did barely any running on the other 2 days. They showed up to the Bahrain test with a car that was limited on speed. They had multiple problems throughout the entire test. They then went home early because of those problems, and they're just so slow. They're lacking so much speed in comparison to the other teams, and yeah, it looks like a problem that is not easily solvable either. Not to mention, like, unlike Mercedes, unlike Ferrari, unlike even Red Bull, they don't have the benefit of looking at other teams and getting that data. They've only got their own team to look at, and right now they're struggling. And yeah, I do not think Aston can finish higher than 10th. I would predict them. It's more likely for them to finish 11th than to finish 9th, in my opinion. I think this is just going to be such a hard problem to solve. And if they do manage to turn it around and get enough points to finish 9th or higher in the championship, they've done a really, really good job of recovering. But yeah, they're coming out the gates very terrible at the moment. Now, the reason why I haven't put them 11th behind Cadillac is because at the end of the day, they've got huge budget. They've got a massive team. They've got Fernando Alonso. They've got Adrian Newey. They've got all the staff there that's very experienced. They've got the facilities as well. They will develop over the course of the season. I think they're going to be very, 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 very slow out the gates, but I think they'll probably end up being the team that has the biggest turnaround, solely because they're starting so low down. So yeah, because of that, I think they'll finish ahead of Cadillac. Cadillac is just naturally going to be a team that struggles because of the situation they're in. So yeah, again, I think it's more likely they'll finish 11th and 9th though, but I think 10th is where Aston will end up being. Which sucks, which fucking sucks for Alonso. But yeah. AE, Darwit, thank you guys for the follows. I think 10th and 11th will come down to luck, as neither will score points. That too. Recovering for a team that got billions in Newey plus Alonso is huge L, honestly. It's going to be pretty close between Aston and Cadillac, you reckon? Newey will make headway this season, but it can only go so far with Honda coming back after 4 years, plus a brand new transmission that seems to have a bunch of issues. Yeah. Welcome to the stream, everyone who's new. By the way, I feel so bad for Alonso, man. He can't catch a break. Yeah. But then again, yeah. I was going to say something, but no, it's just tough for him. It's 9th to 8th once they sort the engine out. I mean, look, that is if they sort this engine out, there is an argument they finish above some of the midfield teams because of the aero package they have. But I just think the engine is the most important part of these cars, and with the battery and the engine, engines have always been the most important part. Now they're even more important with the battery system, and it's just like, even if they got the best aero package, which they might have because of Adrian, the engine is limiting them so much. But yeah, they need to solve these problems. They're not even running at full power at the moment. I don't think Newey will be able to change the situation in a year, maybe 2. But it's not Newey though. Newey could have the best. It's not an aero package problem. Adrian Newey can't solve that. He doesn't design the engine. Knock, Tragic, Dark Start, Ernan, A-Man. Thank you guys for the follows. If Aston wasn't shit in preseason testing, I'd say Caddy, but definitely Aston is last for you. Interesting. Yeah. Interesting. All right. Majority of you guys on the poll saying 10th as well. A few of you say 11th, and a fair few of you saying 9th. Okay. I didn't think that many of you would be saying 9th, but you think they're going to have a good turnaround. Okay. For the people who said 9th, who have you got finishing behind Aston then? Cadillac and who? Corn, name of the follow. Should have made Newey team principal. I forgot he was team principal. Triumph, welcome to the stream, by the way, dude. Alpine, Audi, V-Carb. Okay, 3 different teams there. Audi, V-Carb, Alpine, Audi. Interesting. Okay, NJ13, name of the follow as well. All right, let's move on to the next team. All right, so I feel like there's brackets. I'm going to talk about brackets a lot when we talk about the teams and the drivers. I think bracket 1 is done. Bracket 1 being they're going to have a terrible start to the season that is going to hinder them the entire season. And even if they do recover, it's not going to be enough to catch the other teams. And I think these two are going to be called the back markers this year. This is the back marker group, which is crazy to say Aston Martin is a back marker team, but as of right now, they're a back marker. And I don't think there's any other team a back marker team. I actually think, and we'll talk about them soon, I actually think Audi is no longer a back marker after their day 3 of the final test. They proved that they can actually set good lap times, and yeah, they might have some reliability problems. Anyways, we'll talk about Audi soon, but I don't think they're a back marker anymore after that last test day. They came out and showed what they could do, which Cadillac and Aston didn't show. Anyways, in 9th, who do you guys think I have got? Alpine, RB, Alpine, Williams, Alpine, V-Carb, Audi, Williams, V-Carb, Williams, Audi, Alpine. Wow, big mix. Okay, this is what's so fun about this year's predictions. Is last year, everyone would name the same kind of drivers, the same kind of teams. It's very mixed up. All right, in 9th place, I have got, and it hurts me to say, and I hope this isn't the case, but I've got Racing Bulls. Yeah, I didn't think I'd put Racing Bulls here after Barcelona shakedown, to be honest. But I think it's going to come down to the engine. I think, obviously, you've got Haas and... No, you've got Haas with a Ferrari engine, which is looking amazing. You've got Williams and Alpine with a Mercedes engine, which is looking amazing. At the end of the day, Racing Bulls have never really been a team that has produced an amazing car. So not only have they got the 3rd, maybe even 4th best engine in the back of their car, but they've also got a team that kind of lacks aero at the that lacks aero development. And yeah, they came out the gate so strong. You know, first team to do their season launch, reveal their livery, reveal their merch, show up to up to Barcelona Shakedown, do a bunch of laps. I think they end up doing the second most laps, third most laps of the entire testing period. But they had a lot of problems, more problems than Red Bull had, surprisingly. Actually, probably balanced out with Red Bull. But again, both Red Bull and VCarb had a lot of problems throughout all the tests. But their lap times were just disappointing. Now, I know lap times aren't important, but they didn't really convince me that their car is good enough. But then on top of that, they were also having some reliability problems as well. And the other big thing is they've got two inexperienced drivers. Like, yes, Liam's in his third, fourth season of F1, if you want to call it that. But, you know, it's his second full season. They haven't got like a Hulkenberg or an Ocon or a Pierre Gasly in their team with experience. You know, this would be Liam's first time adapting to a new Rega car. And, you know, you're then relying on Liam in his second full season and Arvid, his first time ever in Formula One, to build a car for new regs. That's going to be tough as well. But I think it just comes down to the development race. You know, yes, Williams and Audi have not started anywhere near VCarb in testing so far, but Audi and Williams have shown how quickly they have progressed in the 3 testings, or for Williams, 2 testings. Whereas VCarb, I haven't really seen them progress too much over the course of the testing, and that worries me. And I think over the course of the season, VCarb will get beaten by them too. So yeah, as much as I hate to say it, I've got Racing Bulls in P9, unfortunately. But again, it's so hard to predict. But yeah, I just think the big boy teams are going to outclass a team that is basically a sister team at the end of the day. Inexperienced. Okay, what do you guys got? Inexperienced driver lineup. I think Lindblad will prove to be overhyped. Are we voting what we think you were putting or what we think? No. This poll is you're voting what you think. When I ask what you think for me, that's when you put the team. I don't like this driver lineup. I don't think Lindblad is going to do too much, to be honest. I think a key thing with this year will be the driving experience. I think VCub's inexperience will see them finish bottom of the midfield. Santec, what's up on the stream, dude? Yeah, Racing Bulls has an underwhelming aero development, rookie and inexperienced drivers. Yeah, Lindblad will do solid, I think. It will be more just a reflection of what VCub is supposed to do. Exactly, I agree. All right, majority of you guys saying 8th. Okay, oh no, tied. Tied 8th and 9th on the poll. Okay. So we kind of agree in that area. They're not going to be top of the midfield. They're not going to be back markers. They're going to be back in the midfield. One could argue with the new regs, they have a chance to be better than expected as it's a reset of the field. But I think others will adapt quickly. Yeah, I agree. All right. Racing Bull's done. That is painful. So I hope that's not the case. All right. This is how it's looking so far. Normal VCarb in the standing. Yeah, I feel like they're always there. Like, not back marker team, but not top of the midfield. They're just solidly in the midfield. All right, who do you guys think I have got in P8? Oh my God. Alpine, Audi, Williams. A Haas thrown out there. Ferrari. Okay, let's stop. All right. In 8th, I have got Audi. Poll is up for Audi. By the way, if you're just tuning the stream, guys, if you want to vote on the poll, come over to Twitch chat if you're watching on YouTube or TikTok, and type in Twitch chat what you want to vote for. Basically, all you do is you type in the corresponding number, and it will go on to the poll for it to show on stream. So I've got Audi in 8th, and I'm not gonna lie, I did not expect to be putting Audi this high before preseason testing and after Barcelona Shakedown. But they really surprised me in the second Bahrain test, specifically day 3. I was really worried that even if they're reliable, even if they're getting a lot of track mileage, which they did in the 3rd test, they would be slow. But they showed the lap times that they could do, and they were actually kind of strong. And there's even a potential that they could finish higher than 1 or 2 teams above them that I've predicted above them, because of how much they'll develop. Like they've gone from Barcelona, Barcelona shakedown kind of being like, all right, we've got a new engine, we need to kind of take things slow, to one of the most amount of laps in the second Bahrain test, and a really nice midfield time with the other teams. Yeah, and I think at the end of the day, yes, Audi are developing an engine for the first time, but Audi are known for making really good engines in other motorsports, so they know what they're doing. Unlike Red Bull, who it's their first time doing that. Unlike Cadillac, who's a brand new team and facility. You got to remember, Audi, at the end of the day, is taking the Sauber factory, the Sauber staff that already existed, and just elevating it further. So yeah, they're not as bad as people. Oh wait, I just realized I'm streaming. Oh my god, I just realized I'm streaming the wrong thing on YouTube Vertical. I just realized on YouTube Vertical, I'm literally streaming my desktop camera. Alright, YouTube Vertical, I'm gonna end the stream because I actually don't have a screen set up to stream anything, so you just look at nothing. Come over to the horizontal stream, or come join us on Twitch if you watch on YouTube Vertical right now. That is fucking funny. I'm literally just streaming my screen. Thankfully, I didn't show anything. But yeah, I was literally just streaming nothing to YouTube Vertical this whole time. That is funny. What was I saying? What was I up to? I'm by. Thank you for the follow. Sup, FK. I can't remember what I was saying, but yeah. Okay, what are you guys saying about Audi? Repic, one of the stream dude. Dylan as well, low. Very solid driver lineup, but I think the first... I didn't even talk about the driver lineup. Yes, driver lineup as well. They've got an experienced driver, Nico Hulkenberg, who can hopefully take this team in the right direction. And they've got a rookie who's actually good. Not inexperienced like Arvid Lindblad, has a year under his belt and has proven that he's solid. So, yeah. I feel like it will be a good starting point for Audi. They'll progress a lot through this reg cycle. Yeah, I think there would be like a 4 to 5 way fight for fifth between Audi, Alpine, Haas, and Williams. I feel like they'll be better than a lot of people expected. Yeah. So excited for Australia. It's going to be good. Audi be front grid contender, you reckon? You just show your prediction after, or you will influence the chat. Show my prediction after. True, but nah. I hope people have a think before I reveal my prediction, and then, yeah. All right, majority of you guys saying 8th. A few of you saying 7th. A few people saying 6th. A lot of people saying 9th. And a few people saying 11th. Okay, so very spread for Audi. I think that, look how unpredictable the season is, right? Like, I don't want to hear anyone after 1, 2, 3, or any point during the season being like, this season was so predictable. It was so obvious this team was going to win. Like, obviously we haven't gotten to the top teams yet, but like, it's so spread on all the polls. I mean, obviously 8th is the majority, but still. Yeah. All right, we agree 8th for Audi. All right. Next up, who do you think I've got? I'd still say we're in the midfield bracket. Oh, yeah, we're still definitely in the midfield bracket right now. Williams, Alpine, Williams, Alpine. Okay. Next up. In P7, I have got Alpine for my prediction. Poll is up. Get your votes in on the poll. Yeah, Alpine. I couldn't really decide where to put them. I couldn't decide if I should put them higher because of the Mercedes engine, or if I should put them lower because it's Alpine and they kind of are all over the place and have a weird driver lineup. So I kind of settled in the middle. I think they're going to beat out VCARB because of the Mercedes engine and the Pierre Gasly experience. And obviously Audi because Alpine's already a solid team with the Mercedes engine versus an Audi engine. But I just don't think they've got it in them to beat Williams and Haas because of Williams and Haas's experience and their driver lineup. And I think Alpine have just struggled in the last few years, and I think a new reg set isn't going to change that. So yeah, I've got them finishing as 7th. Again, with the Merc engine, they could finish higher. They could finish lower if they struggle to pull their car together. But yeah, they've got a big benefit this year moving to Mercedes engines, because I think they've really struggled with the Renault engine for years, and not having to worry about that now, it's going to be very interesting. I didn't even think about this part of it. They've always had to worry about making their own engine. Now they can lay off all that stuff, which they've done, and solely focus on the aero of their car. Maybe they'll cook. Maybe they'll cook, not having to worry about the engine anymore. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Alpine does, but I don't really have much more to say about them. They've obviously got Franco Colapinto, who I think has a high potential of doing well, but right now, I think he's also going to be a limitation, right? You're going up against Carlos Sainz and Alex Albon, Ollie Behrman and Esteban Ocon. I just don't think Franco has it in him to really get those points on those drivers I just named to finish higher in the championship. So yeah. Stringer, welcome to the stream, Deb. I forgot what I voted already. Is this Colapinto or a car issue? I think a bit of everything, right? A bit of everything. Alpine have all the materials to be 5th, but the incompetence will show this year. Gasly will do well, but Colapinto will struggle. Who do you think will buy Alpine next year? I think it'll be a Saudi company if it does go up for sale. Alpine looks best to the rest after testing. Colapinto might drag them down, though. Is Colapinto initial or no? I mean, again, this is one of those ones where it's like, Colapinto in the last couple years has not been great. Or last year wasn't great. No, it was last couple years, right? No, last year wasn't great. So no, he was also crashing at Williams as well. But maybe they will turn around in this new car. We'll see. We'll see. Stringer, Dylan, Ryan, the manager. Thank you guys for the follows. Welcome to the stream. All right, majority of you guys saying 6th. Okay. So one position higher than that. I don't know why I said that. So I thought it was best for rest for a second. Okay, so majority of you guys saying they'll finish 6th. But we've got a lot of people saying 7th. A lot of people saying 8th, 9th. And even some people saying 10th and 11th. Wow. Okay, so, well, maybe this might end up being the most polarizing team vote of the day. I mean, like I said, I struggled to really decide where I wanted to put Alpine because I have no faith in them. But, like, using my head, they should do well. So I kind of just slotted them in 7th. You sleeping in Alpine with Merc engine and maximum wind tunnel time? Yeah, true. I forgot about the maximum wind tunnel time. Very true. Very true. I think if Tsunoda could have got out of his contract, Alpine would have taken him. I mean, they probably could have got Tsunoda, but they chose not to. And effects. What does that do? They have the Mercedes engine. It's going to be fantastic. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see how Alpine do. All right. Next up, the final 2 midfield teams. We've got Haas and we've got Williams. Who do you think I've got next? I need to open my window. Give me a sec. All right. In P6 for my Constructors Championship predictions, I have got... Now, I'll just say it first. I have got Williams. Poll is up. Get your votes in. Now, I did not expect to have them here before testing. I was expecting Williams to be, at very least, best of the rest. Maybe even rivaling Ferrari and Red Bull because of the Mercedes engine. However, they seem very behind schedule. They missed Barcelona's shakedown. They showed up late. They didn't get laps in. However, like Audi, they did improve a lot over the 2 Bahrain tests. They showed good lap times, or decent lap times, I should say, and a lot of laps, which is great. But I do think, at the end of the day, they missed out on 24 hours of track time. That's equivalent to 5 Grand Prix. They're essentially 5 Grand Prix behind every other team. Now, they do have the benefit of the Mercedes engine, which I believe is the most powerful engine at the moment. But they are still on the back foot. And I think Haas have a good enough car and a good enough engine to kind of rival them throughout the season anyway. But Haas is also going to have the leg up on them because of how much time Williams has missed. Williams definitely have the driver lineup to be able to pull through with the car. But yeah, I just think they're on the back foot, and we're just gonna have to wait and see how they go.
I won't take testing at face value when it comes to Williams. I think out of all the teams, Williams are the ones with the most potential to improve quickly over the course of the season.
Mr. Hobby, thank you for the 100 bits. Yeah, I do think Williams also have potential to develop as well over the course of the season, for sure. But I disagree with you on not taking testing at face value, because I'm not looking at testing for this, to be honest. Because if I'm being honest, if I was looking at testing, I would put Williams even lower, because Williams actually had one of the slowest times in the midfield. If I'm not mistaken, it went Cadillac, Aston Cadillac, they were the worst, V-Carb, and then Williams had a really slow time in testing. They were behind Audi, and they were behind Alpine, who have put lower than them. So I feel like I've already taken enough account for it. I've taken it into account how good Williams will develop already. But I just think Haas have looked reliable. They've looked quick, and they had the extra testing, which Williams hasn't. And yeah, I think Williams, again, I think they are going to be at the top of the midfield. It's just, I don't think they are going to have enough to beat the trajectory that Haas look on. And also Williams, I mean, it's a little thing. Williams finished the best of the rest last year, which means they got less wind tunnel time. But I don't know. I think some people are overestimating Williams with the missing Barcelona testing, but I think a lot of people are underestimating it now, in the sense of, like, they missed 24 hours of track time. You know, they're behind schedule. Like their car is overweight. Like, they have a lot of problems they need to deal with, whilst a team like Haas and even Alpine are already, like, ready to go. So I do think Williams can catch up, but yeah. Also, who knows what the Mercedes engine is going to be like? Some people are saying it's going to be better, so they could be way better than Haas. But then, you know, it might also get nerfed in August, which will play a big part in the championship. But yeah, again, I was very much tossing up between Williams and Haas, and I settled for the Haas boys. Reports say Williams' car is very overweight as well. Yeah. I think the car will honestly kind of suck, but it will get better throughout the season. Yeah, I mean, they didn't set a good lap time in testing. Again, worse than Alpine and Audi. Will it be better to show the vote result and your predictions side by side so that we can have conclusion discussion later? Wait, what do you mean by that? Will it be better to show the vote result? Oh, no, that's okay. I mean, if people are really, like, I can't help people voting just because of what I say. Like, yeah. I'd rather people vote while I'm yapping. I have more confidence in Williams' driver lineup than Haas's, even though Haas seemed to have a stronger car. Maybe that's why I'd put Williams fifth. Fair. I mean, in saying that, though, Williams last year had a strong car, and they decided to trade Grand Prix that they wanted to be good. 1 week, Sainz was good. When Sainz was good, Albon was awful. And when Albon was good, Sainz was awful. It was like they just couldn't decide who wanted to try each week. Oh, they never wanted to try at the same time. So, I don't know, maybe that will continue into this year. Anyways, poll, wow. Even more than Alpine. 17% saying 5th, 17% saying 6th, 24% the most saying 7th, 21% saying 8th, and 13% saying 9th. That's crazy. So, yeah, some people think they're going to finish best of the rest. Some people are going to finish worst of the midfield. And then a lot of people in the middle. Yeah, I mean, that wasn't the same as mine. So we don't need it. We don't need to do the poll before I vote, because people don't seem to be using their brains anyway. Wow. Yeah, that's very spread. I think it just goes to show how unpredictable this season is. Mercedes engine might be fantastic if it doesn't get deemed illegal by the FIA. Yeah, there's a big talking point. All right. That's Williams, which means we've got the final team of the midfield. Yeah, who do you guys think I've got next? No, so for best of the rest, I have gone with Haas. Poll is up. When do you guys think Haas are gonna finish? Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't expect this. But it seems like the Ferrari engine is actually really, really good. And Haas had a lot of runtime. They looked really solid. Ferrari's the most Ferrari at the moment is the most reliable engine, I would say. And it looks quick. And Haas just looks solid. Now, you got to remember, you got to look at the midfield. You've got Williams, who missed missed a whole test, have missed essentially 5 Grand Prix of running. You've got Audi, who are developing an engine for the first time. You've got Racing Bulls, who are limited by a Red Bull engine. You've got Alpine, who are untrustworthy. And you've got... no, that's it. Like, whereas Haas, I feel like they've got a solid car. They've got a solid engine. They've got a solid driver lineup. Behrman, I would say, was the second best rookie of the year last year. You got Ocon, who I don't really rate, but he's solid enough to get the job done over a Franco Colapinto, over an Arvid Lindblad, over a Gabriel Bortoletto, even potentially. So yeah, I think this is more of like I don't know, like maybe if my brain was to pick, I'd probably go with no. If my heart was to pick, I'd probably go with Williams. But I feel like I'm using my brain and just being like, right now, I think Haas have a solid enough base. I trust in Komatsu. I trust in him that they'll do good. So yeah, I've got Haas as best of the rest. Also strong with rain for extra points. They show a lot during Bahrain. They look strong. Yeah, they were definitely the best of the rest team for Bahrain. Absolutely. Some people say Alpine, but I don't know. I just didn't get that vibe of Alpine, to be honest. And also, I just don't trust them. Even if they are best of the rest, they'll fall off. Gar X Go. What's up, dude? On the stream. They didn't bring in any major engineers and designers. I'm more confident. Oh, I read that. The amount of overweight they got, it will take them half a season to get reliable. I'm assuming that's for Williams. I feel like Haas's race starts say it all. They felt the most reliable. Ollie Dogs, Ocon this season, you reckon? I really like Haas, not gonna lie. Such a likable team. I know Ocon was wiped by Behrman last year. Seems overrated. I don't really think there will be a fight for 5th. Haas look fantastic in testing. Wow, okay, so you got them solid 5th then. I have a feeling that Ollie will be promoted to Ferrari next year. Yeah, if it keeps going the way, not going Lewis's way, then yeah, maybe. That Ferrari engine and aero are fantastic. If Ocon stays consistent, they should be 5th. Alpine has no skin in the development race game. They could be good in the start of the season, but will fall off hard. All right. Poll done. Majority of you guys saying 5th. A few people saying 6th, 7th. A few people saying 8th as well. Interesting. But yeah, looks like major majority there saying 5th in the championship. Cool. All right. We are done with the midfield. We move on to the big boys now. So that's another bracket done. We've got the back marker bracket of Aston Cadillac. We've got the midfield bracket of Racing Bulls, Audi, Alpine, Williams, Haas. I think they could all change around a little bit depending on development race, how the drivers deliver, blah, blah, blah. We move on to the big boys now. The very complicated part, because there's the engine, there's the aero, there's the drivers, there's the development race. It's hard. It's hard. Right, who do you guys think I've got in P4? Again, if you're watching on YouTube or TikTok right now, come join us on Twitch, twitch.tv/Ponden. That is where we are voting. That is where you can vote on the polls to have your say on the predictions. All right. Red Bull, McLaren, Audi. Okay. Red Bull, McLaren. You'll say for McLaren. McLaren, Red Bull. All right. In P4, I have got... Honestly, I changed my top 4 around so much throughout the test. At one stage, I had Red Bull. At one stage, I had Merc. At one stage, I had Ferrari. And yeah, this is what I've settled with. In P4, I have got Red Bull. As much as I don't think that's going to be the case, I think this is probably the safest pick of the 4, if I'm being honest. And I think the major 2 reasons is it's a Ford engine, right? I think right now, the Red Bull Ford is the worst of the top teams. I think Mercedes is clearly on another level. I think the Ferrari is on another level as well. I think the Ferrari is the most reliable. I think the Mercedes is the highest potential because I don't think they've taken the sandbags off yet. Because they're obviously trying to protect themselves from the FIA. Maybe even the Red Bull's a threat from Audi, because keep in mind, Audi and Red Bull are both producing an F1 engine for the first time. But yeah, I think the advantage Red Bull has is Max Verstappen and the electric side of the engine, which I think they've probably the best team right now in terms of energy deployment. But with that comes an inexperienced driver in Isaac Hadjar in his second season of Formula One, going up against Max Verstappen, which, look, last year for my predictions, I predicted Liam to finish in the top 8. I thought he would get enough points for Red Bull, or in that case, Yuki would get enough points for Red Bull to help them in the Constructors. And sadly, Liam and Yuki did absolutely nothing. So coming into this season, I'm not going to fall for it again. And I do think Hadjar will do better than Liam, will do better than Yuki, will do better than Perez in the later stages. But I don't think it'll be enough to, with the car that they've got, to pull points over Ferrari, McLaren, and Mercedes. So, yeah, I think we're just really going to have to see how Hadjar does. But again, this is one where if Hadjar is near Max, maybe they'll rival one of the teams ahead. But I think if it's only Max pulling points in the car we're expected Max to have, I just don't think it's going to be enough to finish higher than 4th in the championship. And that's the main reason I've got them there. Yeah, I think worst engine of the 4 teams and the worst driver lineup of the 4 teams. So, yeah. Well, not necessarily the worst driver lineup. I still think Max carries the team enough to maybe have a better lineup than Mercedes, but not enough. By the way, where'd you put Red Bull last year? 2nd or 3rd? I think I put them 3rd behind Ferrari and McLaren. Red Bull have the double whammy of producing their own engine and basically being a 1-driver team. How's that engine worse? No engine issues in 3 tests and being only 2 teams. They got solid laps. I mean, they're slower than Ferrari and Mercedes at the moment, and I don't think they've been unreliable. The engine's been having a few problems. The Red Bull engine is just new. It looks really good overall. Oh, no, 100%. I think, put it this way, I think for where the expectations were for Red Bull Ford, they've done really well. But I still don't think they're on the same level as Ferrari and Mercedes yet. Also, Red Bull just have the natural lack of data that Mercedes and Ferrari have, because Mercedes and Ferrari have more customer teams. Yeah. Looking at everything so far, I just don't think Red Bull will really be in a fight with the top 4. Yeah. Honestly, I'm the same. I think in my head, I don't, and maybe we'll talk about this more once we get to the drivers, but I just don't think that Red Bull is going to be as in much of a fight as the other 3 teams. Red Bull 4th just because the other top teams driver lineups, because they will get more points than Hadjar. Ford Power Unit makes them 4th, the proper prediction. Yeah. All right. Majority of you guys saying 4th on the poll. A few people saying 3rd. A few people saying 2nd. And even a few people saying 1st. No one saying 5th, 6th, 7th, or 11th. Okay, so basically, everyone thinks the top 4 is the top 4. Which is crazy, man. New regs and the top 4 seemingly has stayed the same top 4, which is crazy. Grateful. What is up, Deb? Bottom of the shrimp. Also, you can't argue that the Red Bull lineup will be strong enough to compete with the likes. Exactly. All right. 4th place done. We move on to the top 3. Who do you think I've got in 3rds? This is where it gets juicy. This is where it gets... Again, I still don't... like I just said, I think Red Bull is the safest pick of the top 4. Genuinely, the top 3, I struggle to decide. And my top 8 drivers, or top 7 drivers, because excluding Hadjar, I really struggled with. I just went off of vibes in the end. McLaren, Mercedes, Ferrari, McLaren, Ferrari, McLaren, Mercedes, McLaren, Papaya, Mercedes, McLaren. All right. In P3, probably going to come as a surprise. after seeing what you guys put in chat. I have got Ferrari. I'm really surprised none of you guys have thought I'd say Ferrari. So I got Ferrari in P3. Now, Ferrari obviously was the best team of the test in terms of lap time and reliability. But I think people are forgetting that it's Ferrari at the end of the day, right? You've got a Mercedes engine powering two teams, Mercedes and McLaren. I think the Mercedes engine is the stronger engine. And I think what I've seen in my 8 seasons of watching Formula One is Ferrari have struggled to show me that they are competent in pulling off a car and strategy to win a championship. 2017, bottle. 2018, bottle. 2019, cheated. 2020, sucked. 2021, sucked. 2022, bottled. And then non-existent for 2023, 2024, 2025. So why would I come in to 2026 going, oh my God, they're going to win the championship? You got to remember, these are predictions. And you have to go off of the vibe. You have to go off of what you believe. And I don't believe Ferrari over the course of the season is going to be able to keep up with the development of Mercedes and McLaren or the engine development of the Mercedes engine. But I will say this is probably one of those predictions where it's like, I've gone for this because I hope I'm wrong. Like, if Ferrari do end up being the best team and winning the championship, I'd be happy that my predictions are wrong. You know what I mean? So in this case, I'm either going to get my prediction right or I'm going to be happy. But yeah, I think a lot of people are falling for the Ferrari hype train as per usual, like the last 20 years. I definitely think, like, okay, I should give Ferrari credit here, right? I definitely think Ferrari have turned a new leaf in a way. Showing up to testing with 2 new aerodynamic parts, which the other teams didn't have. Like, first, the rear wing flipping, really cool, innovative piece, plus the exhaust. I thought it was really amazing. The reliability of the engine looks great, but I'm going into the season with the idea that Mercedes are still sandbagging right now. They've got an engine that is keeping up, if not better than the Ferrari, and they still haven't shown the full power. Yeah. Now, what benefit does Ferrari have over the other teams? Well, they did finish 4th in the Constructors, so they're going to have the most wind tunnel time of the top 4 teams. But I also think Lewis is going to let them down. I think again, I'm coming with the mindset that Lewis is out of form. He's been out of form since 2022, and last season, he had a shocking season. Going out in Q1, yes, his race pace was good, to be fair. But Lewis cost them top 3 in the Constructors, right? And I think if you put Lewis up against Lando, Russell, and Piastri right now, and Leclerc right now, I just don't think he's going to be able to pull the points up against Mercedes and McLaren, who I already think are a stronger team. So I think all that combined, I think the fact that they're lacking on Mercedes and McLaren already, or revert that back. I take that back. I think Ferrari and Mercedes are already matched, right? Going into a 24 race season, I don't have the faith in the Ferrari that they are going to be able to develop over the course of the season. Like, they've just not proven to me that they can do that in the last 20 years. So why would I believe that now? And then with that said, everyone, even if they were all on equal playing field, which I think they are, I just don't think Lewis has the comfortability in Formula One at the moment to go up against drivers like George Russell, Lando, and Piastri to pull enough points. Again, I hope I'm wrong, but I got to make a prediction, and I think a lot of people are falling for Ferrari hype. And I think that's what it is. Unfortunately, I think it's hype. But I do think they'll finish comfortably above Red Bull, though. But yeah, I must say, this has reminded me a lot of last year's predictions where people are calling me idiot for my prediction. And then my prediction ended up being right. So yeah, call me an idiot. Call me an idiot. So then we can look at your name in Twitch chat and laugh at you for roasting me. All right, what do you guys got to say, though? K1 available? Someone said racist. Yeah, I'm racist, guys. Racist. I thought you'd be deluded like many others and put them P2, P1. No. That's actually so funny. I said McLaren, and then he said he put Ferrari, didn't he? Fuck Krause. What does that do above the stream? Basically, Leclerc might challenge, Hamilton will improve, but Ferrari will find a way to mess up. Yeah, I just have no faith. Look, if they... I want them to prove me wrong, right? I said this last year. When I put Lewis where I put him in the Drivers' Championship standings. I said this last year. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. Please. I want you to prove me wrong. That's the fucking point. I'm a doubter. I'm not a hater. I'm a doubter. Right? So prove me wrong. Until you prove me wrong, I'm not going to believe in you being able to beat Mercedes and McLaren. They've got a better driver lineup. Well, McLaren do. They've got a better engine, in my opinion. And they've got a better team. Prove me wrong. Win the championship and fucking prove me wrong. And then I'll put you fucking first in a championship prediction for once. Nobody did quality sims at the end of the top teams, only Ferrari, and people generally believe the gap. Exactly. Look, I know it's Ferrari, but from how good they looked in testing, they won't finish outside the top two. 2022, they started off the season with a 1-2 finish. And had a decent lead in the championship. What happened? Ferrari were by far the best team in 2022, and they lost the championship. Do you know why? Because you have to look at who's in their team and how their team usually performs. And usually their team performs pretty bad. And I just don't think over the course of 24 race season, they're going to be able to keep up with McLaren and Mercedes. I mean, that was 4 years ago, but I don't know. That's my prediction. Broken Law, sure. What does that do? Must be the water. McLaren have like 1 hour wind tunnel time. Merck was always having a yellow third sector in Bahrain, so they're definitely sandbagging. Same. I'm nervous for Hamilton. Lewis isn't driving a ground effect car. Got to remember these are different regs. Lewis hated these regs. No, 100%. But he is older now, and lacks a bit of confidence. But I do hope Lewis turns it around. How can we say teams showed their engine? Everyone was saying that Red Bull, and they turned the engine. Keep in mind, Merck is illegal. We'll have to wait and see, right? Ferrari looks solid, but cannot. Usual Ferrari shenanigans. Something, Naiha. Lewis was a demon before the ground effect out. Oh, no, 100%. But that was also 5 years ago. Lewis was best before ground effect cars, so who knows? Lewis is not anywhere near as dedicated as he was prior to 22. I agree. Matt will kill Ponden. Now, it's about the prediction. I just think they'll be second. That's a bit. I'm happy for people to disagree with me, but I just hate when people are like, "Are you stupid? Are you an idiot?" I'm stupid for predicting something that we don't even know is right yet. And even if Ferrari end up winning the constructors, this still wasn't a stupid prediction. A stupid prediction is putting Ferrari probably fourth. Rick's F1 addiction could unalive himself after watching Aston Martin's perform. Oh, Rick's F1 addiction video is going to be good this year. Cap 2022 Red Bull was the quickest car except Australia and Bahrain. Austria, when the updates came and the weight reduction on the car, the Ferrari had no chance. Predicting them for third assumes they'll have their classic mid-season strategy meltdown. Yeah, it's a 24-race season. Someone made up. Leclerc himself said that everyone hasn't showed their max performance in testing, so we can't be sure about anything really. Yeah, I agree, because McLaren don't even have the newest Mercedes power unit. Yeah. Can I just say, by the way, Tomo got roasted, by the way. Tomo got roasted. This is not an attack on you guys. This is an attack on the general F1 fan base. Tomo got roasted for putting Ferrari second in his Constructors' Championship finishings and putting Leclerc, I think, second driver in the championship standings. He got roasted. You fucking idiot. Why would Ferrari finish that high? Now I'm getting questioned for putting Ferrari third and not first. Is this how fickle the F1 fan base is? But yeah, it's crazy though. It is crazy. What about the rear wing with the extra... That's what I mean. They've done really, really well with that. But the other teams can copy that pretty easily. And that's not me taking anything away from Ferrari. I'm just saying I think the biggest race is the engine, and I think Mercedes have won that. For me, if they do come out the blocks firing, then they're going to have a similar inter-team battle to McLaren last year. Okay. Look, I will say, we haven't got to the drivers specifically yet, but I will say there's two drivers that I want to change my teammate head-to-head predictions in. So one of them is Ferrari. In the Leclerc versus Lewis head-to-head, I put Leclerc to dominate Lewis. And I still think Leclerc will win the teammate head-to-head. But after seeing Lewis and how much more comfortable he is in these cars, I would put it less of a domination. I'd just put it a swing towards Leclerc. And the other one was Russell and Antonelli. I put Russell to absolutely dominate Antonelli. And I would change that now to maybe like, rather than like a 19-6, 19-5, I'd probably do like a 17-7, I think, for Russell and Antonelli. After seeing testing and seeing how comfortable Lewis and Antonelli are in the car. But yeah, I still don't think they've got a solid lineup like Piastri and Lando do. Like Piastri and Lando. Bruce, people in comments and chat always tweaking if you have 1% difference in opinion. Yeah, true. I mean, I'm just obviously joking around a bit as well. So basically not going to change anything. Well, I just have it less of a domination is what I'm saying. Yeah. There's no way Ferrari would ever favor Lewis over Leclerc, you reckon? Alex, save for the follow. A lot of new fans about team history and personal movement concerns. Well, that's the thing. I feel like I've been thankful enough to watch three different regulation cycles now, and see Ferrari specifically be a team who's failed to capitalize on that. And also the engine regs. I think a lot of people have watched Formula One since 2021 and forget how important the engines are. And if Mercedes is as good as I think they'll be, again, this is my prediction and my opinion, McLaren and Mercedes should sweep the championship this year, given what I think is going to happen in my head. Yeah. Ferrari in season development will hurt them, and that's where McLaren and Red Bull thrives. Yeah. I mean, especially last year for Red Bull. All right, anyways, poll done. Majority of you guys saying second. Only 17% of you guys agreeing with me in third. We've got some people predicting fourth as well. And 25% of you think Ferrari will be champions. Okay? My key takeaway from this is I think a lot of people are underestimating McLaren. It seems like everyone's thinking Ferrari, Mercedes, top two. And I think that's crazy. Because, anyways, we'll talk about McLaren and Mercedes when we get to each of them, which is right now. This is how it looks at the moment. We move on to the top two. Mr. Hoppy, there with 100 bits. Ferrari strategy. Wait, why don't they play? Eh? Let me replay that for you. Oh, well, Stream Balance is dead, so I'm going to have to read it out for you. Sorry. Thank you for the 100 bits, though. Ferrari strategy, a poem. K1 available, must be the water. Stay out Monaco, the track is shorter. When joining a circus, expect to see clowns. It's hard to see Lewis when he constantly frowns. Banger, banger, banger. I think it's time for Lewis to terrorize everybody. He'll swing the title in a breeze if that Ferrari is untouchable. I hope so, Amir Jordan. I hope so. All right, we move on to top two in the constructors, and then we're going to get into our drivers. Oh my God, we've already been live for 2 hours. We haven't got to drivers yet. Actually, no, it's about right. It's about right. All right, who do you guys think I've got in P2? And who do you think I've got as the champs? Well, not as the champs, I should say. Right. Who do you think I've got P2? Mercedes, McLaren, Ferrari. Okay. How can I have Ferrari P2 if I got Ferrari P3? McLaren, Merc, McLaren. All right. In P2. In P2. I have got... to be honest, I might be the first person to do this. I've got Mercedes in P2, which means I have got McLaren as Constructors champions for my prediction for 2026. Now, we'll talk about Mercedes first. Shut up! Fucking TikTok. All right, poll is up for Mercedes. Where do you think Mercedes will finish in 2026? Get your predictions in. Okay, I'm not going to read chat for a bit. I'm going to focus on what I got to say. So, Mercedes P2. Let's talk about Mercedes first, then we'll talk about McLaren. In Mercedes, right. I think Mercedes is going to be the strongest car this year. I think they're going to be the McLaren of 2025, the Red Bull of 2024, 2023. Maybe not on that level, but still. I think Mercedes is going to be the strongest car this season. However, the majority of that is going to come from the engine. Guess who else has a Mercedes engine? McLaren. Guess who just won the Constructors' Championship the last 2 years with Mercedes engine? McLaren. Who do I think has the best aero development on the grid? McLaren. So not only does McLaren have the best engine in the back of their car, they've also got the best aero. Anyways, why am I talking about McLaren? Mercedes. At the end of the day, I think they're going to have the best car, but I ultimately think they are going to be let down in a championship battle against Norris and Piastri because of Antonelli. I think Antonelli is going to be better than last season, of course. I think Antonelli has shown what he's capable of. Those highs at the end of the season, his high of the sprint pole in Miami, and a few podiums throughout the year. But I think if you throw Kimi Antonelli with the same powered car and a similar aeroed car, a similar leveled car up against Piastri and Norris, I mean, you know, two of the best drivers in the sport, two of the best drivers of last year, a team that they're comfortable with. I just don't think Antonelli is going to be able to get enough points on them, including Max Verstappen and Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton, right? Kimi Antonelli is, you know, expecting him to go up against these big name drivers in a championship fight. I just don't think he's going to be able to pull enough points to be able to beat McLaren, who again, like I said, have the same engine and I think a better car for developing. Yes, okay, they have got less wind tunnel time than the rest of the teams. But yeah, I don't know. I just have faith in McLaren. I have faith in McLaren. I have faith in that team. They've smashed it the last few years. And look, put it this way. I would not put them first if they had a Ferrari engine or if they had a Red Bull engine in the back. But they have a Mercedes engine. And for anyone thinking, oh, they're limited because they got a Mercedes engine. I mean, they just won the Constructors' Championship the last 2 years with the Mercedes engine. So there's nothing stopping them from doing it again. The only limitation McLaren have, no limitation in driver lineup, no limitation in aero development, in the aero department, no limitation in from an engine side of things. The only limitation is that they have the least amount of development time than every other team. But I don't really think that's gonna play too much of a part in it when we're talking about like minimal percents. Yeah. That's all I got to say about Mercedes. I think I just waffled more about McLaren than Mercedes. But anyways, yeah. Long story short, I think Mercedes will have the best car this year, but I think Antonelli just won't string enough points to beat McLaren in a similar pace car in the Constructors' Championship. Simple as that. I think it's going to be McLaren versus Mercedes drivers and Constructors' Championship fight this year. That is my prediction. I really hope Ferrari and Red Bull are in the mix, and they will be in the mix. But I think it's George versus Lando versus Piastri for the drivers this year, and inherently, which also means the constructors as well. All right, what have you guys got to say? McLaren will start the season second, but will finish first. You reckon? I agree. I think Mercedes will obviously have the better car overall the season as well, but I think McLaren will catch up because, you know, they'll just catch up. This isn't even that bad, gang. But what is that emote? Casey Preacher. Only person I've seen doing this. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I've not seen many people. It's crazy. I don't mind if people put McLaren second or even third. I've been seeing people put McLaren behind Red Bull. I've been seeing people put Piastri and Lando way down their drivers' champion predictions. And again, these are predictions. No one's wrong. But I just can't believe that people are doubting the two-time Constructors' Champions using a Mercedes engine. Like, what? Like, what? Like, this reminds me of last year when I put Max as driver's champion, and people are like, you're fucking delusional. You think Max is going to win? Yeah, I do think the four-time champion's going to win again. Like, it's crazy to predict last year's champions as the champion nowadays. Dude, if this happens, Merc is going to be pissed. Oh, imagine if it happens again. McLaren will start the season second. I read that. I agree, but because of driver lineup, Russell and Kimi over Norris and Piastri. That's crazy after the season Kimi just had. So you believe in Rob Marshall and McLaren's fast and aero development? Yep. Russell isn't bulletproof either. Made mistakes. Yeah, that's the thing. Russell's not a god either. And actually, we haven't even spoken about this yet. Russell hasn't been in a championship fight yet. Lando now has two seasons of championship experience. Piastri has 1. Russell, 0. Antonelli, 0. We haven't actually seen Russell in a championship fight yet. What if he starts choking? What if he turns into Piastri? What if he turns into Lando? We haven't seen that yet. And you've got fucking Antonelli in his 2nd season. He's 12 years old in his 2nd season of Formula 1. I think if the championship is like last year, but it's between Mercedes and McLaren, I think McLaren edge it because of their experience. I mean, they're developing their own transmission. It'll be a challenge to get it to mate as well as it would with something being developed directly on the side. My second favorite driver is George Russell, but my favorite is Lando. That's why this list gives me a kind of odd vibe. I can assume your championship driver is going to be Lando then. Interesting. Is that what you think? I think people forget that their new regs upgrades will be crucial and the pecking order will vary a lot. I reckon whichever team wins constructors, a driver from the other team will win the drivers. We agree. I've said that from the start, McLaren will start the season 2nd, but will finish the season 1st. I think McLaren can outdevelop and better duo, but George championship. I think that tells a lot. Court. What's a max pass? Bro said 12. How is Antonelli 12? Wasn't he 10 last year? I think he's predicted them close, but George is driver's champion. All I know is LN1 is about to put Oscar Piastri. I need 100% track grip. All right, Piastri. Okay. All right. So Mercedes P2, which means McLaren P1. I mean, I kind of just spoke about, actually, whoops, let's go back to Mercedes. Poll. Majority, 53% of you say Mercedes is going to win the Constructors' Championship. 31% say 2nd, 10% say 3rd. So, 84% of people think Mercedes is going to finish top 2. I think that I would agree with those odds. So, moving on to McLaren now. I mean, again, we kind of already spoke about them a fuck ton with Mercedes. But predictions are up for McLaren. Where do you think McLaren will finish in 2026? From the sounds of it, you guys think they're going to finish 3rd behind Ferrari. Anyways, to talk about McLaren specifically, again, strong driver lineup. 2 drivers who have been in a championship fight before. A team that is clearly very strong with their aero, Rob Marshall. An engine that is, in my opinion, the best on the grid, the Mercedes engine. You know, they're not on the back foot coming into the season. They're already a top 3 team, and they're coming into the season. Mercedes might come out the gate stronger. Ferrari might come out the gate stronger. But like I said, I just don't trust Ferrari over the course of the season. And I do think McLaren will be in that fight with Mercedes. And I think the drivers will be the ones that edge it. So, yeah, you know, like last year, I doubted McLaren. And I said on my predictions, prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. And they proved me wrong last year. Almost. They almost fucking flunked it. But they proved me wrong in terms of how strong their car was and how strong their driver lineup was. And I'm putting that faith into this year. I think it'll be a 3-way fight between Leclerc, Russell, and Verstappen. I really hope there's 3 engines, 3 teams, 3 drivers in the Drivers' Championship fight. But I think we got to be realistic here. Like, this is new regs. It's going to come down to an engine championship, I think. Tom the best. Same with the volley. McLaren going to pull the Red Bull 2022, you reckon? Maru. I definitely feel swayed by your reasonings, but I'm going to put my initial thoughts anyways, so I'm putting 3rd. McLaren didn't look sharp. If it came to it with Lando having a slightly quicker car than George and they're in a championship battle, who do you think wins it? We haven't seen George Russell in a championship battle, and we'll talk more about drivers individually. Ask that question again when we get to the drivers, because I think that's a big, important question for where I've kind of gone with my drivers' championship. McLaren is similar to Red Bull and race pace, guys. They're not winning. I think Lando will be a calmer due to winning last year, as he knows he has what it takes to win. Lando and Oscar have been in a title fight, whereas George and Kimi haven't. All right, so majority of you guys saying 1st, but it's very split. 35% say 1st, 21% say 2nd, 32% say 3rd. I reckon that wouldn't be as high if you guys didn't see my prediction. I don't feel like no one in chat was predicting McLaren 1st before I fucking put it on the screen. And then 9% of you predicting 4th. All right. That is the Constructors done. Low key, I'm like, yo, part of me's like, I want to do Drivers Championship in a separate stream. But no, we'll do it today. We'll bang it all out. It's me, Carter, Mando GT3. Thank you guys for the follows. I need to go wee, guys. So we're going to have a quick intermission before we go into the Drivers' Championship. So start thinking about where you're going to put your drivers in the Drivers' Championship. Because when I'm back in 2 minutes, we're going to get into the drivers' predictions. So, BRB. I feel like I need a break from talking. How you got the door open when you got the road? Huh? Honestly, Alright, shut up. Yo, why is Silver Bumper playing, bro? It's 5 a.m. I stayed up to vote Perez 22nd. LOL. Alright, send the music down. Ads have finished running. Let's get into drivers' predictions now. Alright. Who do you guys think I've got in 22nd? K, thank you for the follow. You waffle so much, but I love the waffling, man. Big up yourself. Love your channel. I appreciate that. I don't know if that's a backhanded compliment or not, but thank you. I mean, you're gonna waffle on stream, right? Imagine you hop on stream and go, yeah, guys, I think this driver's gonna finish last because he sucks. And next up, we've got this driver. I think he's gonna finish here because he's good. Boring. All right. All right. Drivers' Championship prediction time. Who do you guys think I'm going to finish in 22nd? Perez, Stroll, Bottas, Checo. Stroll, Lewis. Okay. In 22nd, I have got Valtteri Bottas. Pole is up for Bottas, so same as the drivers, except obviously a different system. 1 for 1st to 10th. This is going to change a lot depending on the driver. So keep your eye on the poll. Make sure you're not voting in the wrong category. But 1 for 1st to 10th, 2 for 11th to 12th, 3 for 13th to 14th, 4th, 15th, 16th, 6th, 7th, 18th, 9th, 6th, 19th, 20th, and 7th, 21st to 22nd. So in 22nd, I have got Valtteri Bottas. Now, reason being, obviously, we've done the constructors already. Cadillac, I've got finishing last. I think their car is going to be the worst over the course of the season. And I think Bottas is... Well, their drivers aren't going to be able to do enough to be able to carry that car from a back market team. As for Bottas finishing behind Perez, in my teammate head-to-head predictions, I have got Perez beating Bottas in the head-to-head. So with that said, I've got him finishing behind in the Drivers' Championship. Yeah, this is not going to be necessarily because of Bottas' skill. I think it's mainly going to come down to the car at the end of the day. I just don't think it's going to have enough to be able to fight off the back of the grid. So yeah. He's just a lucky, so he'll finish 22nd. Perez has to be 22nd. Bottas is a social media influencer now, more than a race driver. Yeah, also a year out of the sport. You know, how's that going to affect him coming up against these guys who are all dialed in? I dare to put Checo 22nd and see what happens. Leo Chick, what is up on the stream? Okay. Majority of you guys... No, a tie. A tie between 21st and 22nd and 19th and 20th. Okay, okay. Interesting. Who have you guys got finishing behind then? I guess the Aston boys? Colapinto? Never rate again. Bro just told me to never rate again because I put Bottas in a Cadillac in 22nd. Fair. Alright. Yeah, poor Bottas. I think it's going to be a rough season for him solely because of that car. All right. Who do you think I've got in 21st? Stroll. Well, you're wrong because in 21st, I have got Sergio Perez. Look. Same reasoning as Valtteri Bottas, right? I think that car, Cadillac, just won't really progress over the course of the season. I think they're very limited with what they've got. Why have I got Perez and Bottas behind Lance Stroll? Same reason I've got Aston Martin ahead of Cadillac in the Constructors' Championship, which is, you know, I think they've got the facilities, they've got the team members to be able to develop the car over the course of the season. I still think Aston Martin is going to be a back market team, but it is going to progress. Whereas I don't think the Cadillac will, and I think Perez is going to be limited to that Cadillac. I hope that's not the case. You know, put it this way: if the Aston Martin and the Cadillac stay equal on pace, Perez will, and even Bottas will probably wipe Lance Stroll in just edging enough positions to be able to finish higher up in the Constructors in the Drivers' Championship. But as of right now, I do think Aston Martin are going to solve their problems by the end of the year, and by then they'll be able to Stroll and Alonso will be able to get enough points to finish ahead of Perez and Bottas. So yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, if Cadillac get off the back row, well fucking done. But you know, I gotta predict where I honestly think they're gonna be, which is last, which is a shame, but it's their first year. So honestly, Cadillac that low seems fair, as much as I don't want them to. Yeah, I mean, it's a whole new team, new facilities. They're still hiring staff members. Like, yeah, I think this is more of a reflection of the constructors than the drivers. Different question to you, Ponden. Think all drivers will score points this season? No, I don't think Cadillac or Aston are scoring points this season. You have to now beat 12 drivers. Sorry, 11 drivers to get points, not 9. It's even harder to score points this year. And there's going to be a bigger spread. Yeah, I think there's much more to say about Perez and Bottas. Put it simple, they're not going to have the car to be able to get points, and I think the Aston will just be able to edge them over development this year to be able to finish higher in the Drivers' Championship. So, we've got Cadillac locking out the back row. Majority of you guys saying, no, a tie again between 19th, 20th, 21st, 22nd. Okay, so I guess it's just split between Aston and Cadillac then. Interesting. All right, 20th. Who do you guys think I've got in 20th? Billy Butcher, opinionated carrot. Thank you guys for the follows. You're underestimating Cadillac big time, in my opinion. Maybe, but new facilities, limited to Ferrari engine. The only benefit they've got is a Ferrari engine, not a new engine. I mean, they showed nothing at testing. They showed no. They were minimal lap times. They showed no pace, but yeah. All right. Wait, did I just say 17th, 18th? Anyways, in 20th, I have got Lance Stroll. Yeah, same as Cadillac boys. I just don't think the car is going to be good enough to score points this season. But I do think that they will develop enough to be able to get in higher finishing positions than Cadillac. I mean, yeah, I do think Lance Stroll could even finish lower than this if they end up being on the same pace as Cadillac, because I think Perez and maybe even Bottas will have the jump over him. But yeah, and I obviously don't have Lance finishing ahead of Alonso. Yeah, I don't really have much more to say. I think Stroll isn't a great driver, and he's not going to be in a great car. I don't think he's going to drive well. He's not going to have many opportunities to score points, and when he does, he probably won't score them anyway. So, yeah, 20th for Stroll. Bro, Aston has been in the sport for plenty of seasons. You can't underestimate them that bad, bro. Come on. They will still be a top team in 5 to 6 races. You're going to see. I hope I get proven wrong, Red Eagle, but they're currently 5 seconds slower than every other team. So I don't know if a team's ever gained 5 to 6 seconds in, or what is it, 4 seconds in one season. All right. There's not really much to talk about with these backmarker guys. Like, I've got them as backmarker drivers because they're backmarker teams. All right, majority of you saying 21st, 22nd. Wow, so you guys really think Stroll will finish behind Bottas and Perez? I think some of you are underestimating Aston / overestimating Cadillac. Anyways, fairs. All right, P19. Who do you guys think I've got? They've not done more than a 26-lap stint. Yeah, that's crazy. Colapinto, Alonso, Lawson, Colapinto, Lindblad, Alonso, Colapinto. Interesting. Tommy Connolly. Thank you for the follow. All right, in P19, I hope this isn't the case. I have got Fernando Alonso. Yeah, we're starting off pretty boring with Cadillac, Aston. But again, I think there's brackets to this, and I think this bracket is it's just the backmarker boys, the boys who aren't going to score points this season. I think the Aston Martin is so far off the pace. Even if they do catch up, it's already going to be long gone for the Drivers' Championship at that point. I do think Alonso will finish ahead of the Cadillac boys and Stroll consistently enough to finish ahead in the Drivers' Championship, but I don't see him getting higher finishing positions than the teams in front. As much as I love Alonso and I think he's going to wipe Lance like last year, you know, at the end of the day, this is going to be a very spread championship. I think there's going to be like a 1+ second gap from Cadillac and Aston to the teams in front. And like, you know, if you watch Formula One back in 2019, 2020, like, you cannot score points when you're that much slower. So yeah, it's a shame, but yeah, I got Alonso 19th. If the car does develop like some people expect it to be, like it's just going to magically gain 3 seconds this season, if that is the case, then yes, Alonso will probably edge some of the drivers in front, but I just don't see that happening with the Aston. Alex and Pedro, thank you guys for the follows. Do you read TikTok comments? Well, if you put a good enough message in there, I'll read it. Yeah. Alonso is the GOAT of trash cars. True, but this isn't 20. I think a lot of you guys are thinking like it's 2025. You're thinking like it's this condensed grid where there's a second spread between first. No, there's a 4-second spread right now from first to last. Tell me where a team has gained 2 seconds over the course of a season. I mean, And it's not, it probably has happened, but like it's hard. It's fucking hard to do. And again, the Aston hasn't done more than 26 laps without exploding. Yeah. Anyways, wow, this is a very interesting poll. Okay, majority saying 17th to 18th. I'm not mad about that. But 25% saying 15th to 16th? I mean, I hope, but I mean, you gotta really hope. You gotta really hope they find like 2 to 3 seconds. You know, there's one thing like not looking too much into testing, and then there's one thing just watching testing with your eyes closed. They were terrible. I Aston haven't even done a race start yet either. Anyways, we're back. We're waiting for the back market teams. I feel like there's not much to talk about. We're done. Back market bracket done. Bottom 4 drivers solely because of the car they've got. Let's move on to P18. Who do you guys think I got in P18? Now, to remind you of my constructors before we get into the midfield kind of teams, this is my Constructors Championship predictions. So I've got Racing Bulls 9th, Audi 8th, Alpine 7th, Williams 6th, Haas 5th. Just so you remember before doing my drivers. Lindblad, Colapinto, Arvid, Colapinto, Lindblad, Lawson, Lindblad, Arvid, Colapinto, Hamilton. Yeah, I've heard an estimated deal with Honda. I was 100% sure Alonso quits. All right, in P18, I have got Franco Colapinto. Despite Alpine finishing 2 positions higher in the constructors, I have got Franco finishing P18 in the drivers. Yeah, look, at the end of the day, Franco had a pretty weak season last year. I think he really struggles to not crash the car now in 2 different teams. And now we're into a new reg of cars. And I don't know, Franco just hasn't proven to me that he's got the focus to adapt and to learn something new. And you know, there's a lot to learn this year, and I just don't think Colapinto has the mentality for that or the skill to be able to do it over drivers around him like Lawson and Bortoletto and Hulkenberg and his teammate Gasly. You know, I think maybe with a fresh start, fresh season, fresh regs, maybe Colapinto can bring his old Williams form back. But yeah, I still think the crashes are going to continue, and I think... I don't know. He just reminds me a little bit of like Yuki 2021, 2022, where like I just don't think he has the mindset to want to learn these cars. So yeah, I have got him ahead of the back market teams, obviously, because it is an Alpine, but I think he is going to let Alpine down in that constructors. He didn't get any testing last year. I feel like I'm assuming you're going to say he'll do better. After Aston and Cadillac, it's awkward to predict the rest. Yeah, it definitely gets hard. How's it going? Lloyd Bob the stream. Bro, Franco hardly crashed last year. No, I disagree. I think Lindblad will finish behind him. Do you think Colapinto survives the whole season? Probably with his money, yeah. Lloyd, Bubba Sponge, and Great. Thank you guys for the follows. He finished 21st in a 20-car field. Come on, guys. Do you think Colapinto survived over it there? How many laps did Franco do? I think he might be safe and would put Rookie or Hulk next. You vote on Twitch if you want to vote on the polls, Rebecca. I think the Alpine will be good enough so that Colapinto beats the V-car boys. Yeah, that's the thing. I don't think Colapinto can finish lower than this, but I do think he can finish higher. All right. Majority of you guys saying 15th to 16th. Okay. 28% of you saying 17th to 18th. 18% of you saying 19th to 20th. Wow. So behind, I guess, the Aston and Cadillac boys, or some of them at least. Abba and Marine. Thank you guys for the follows. All right. Next up, 17th. Who do you guys think I've got in 17th? What around? Different person. Oh, Siva B Hero wants me to do this fast, guys. So we're gonna rush through it now. We're not gonna discuss any picks. Lindblad, Lawson, Hulk, Lindblad. Yeah, majority of you guys are right. In 17th, I have got Arvid Lindblad. Poll is up. If you want to vote in the poll, just type in the corresponding number in Twitch chat and it will pop up on the poll. So I have Arvid Lindblad to finish in P17. Look, at the end of the day, he's a rookie in a team that I've predicted to finish in 9th in the Constructors. You know, partly the reason I've got VCub finishing in 9th is because of Lindblad. I just don't think he'll pull enough points, but also I think that team is pretty limited. I do have him beating Franco though, which some people might argue is a bit controversial, but again, I think Hadja proved that you can come into VCarb. It's a comfortable environment. It's a solid team to be at. And I think Arvid will progress over the course of the season. I hope and I put Arvid kind of in that Behrman, Antonelli, Isaac Hadja group of drivers. And I think he'll be the same. So I think he'll beat Franco, who I think will be underwhelming. So yeah, but I don't think Lindblad's going to finish much higher than this. I don't think he's going to beat Liam. Obviously, Liam's got more experience. He's comfortable with that team now. And yeah, I don't think he's going to be beating the Audi boys or the other midfield teams either. Yeah, I think Lindblad will do good. I think even if Lindblad gets beaten by Franco in the championship, I still think he's going to have a good season. Even if the championship doesn't really reflect that, right? Because I just don't think the V Cub's going to be able to show his full potential. So yeah, 17th for Lindblad. Holland Derek, Grace, Opinionated Carrot, one of the string guys. You really reckon Lindblad will finish ahead of Colbin? So yeah. I don't think Lindblad will outperform Lawson in a similar way that Behrman outperformed Ocon last year. Okay. We ever show you a setup? I did the other day when we were rating people's setups. They say these cars are much like F2 and Arvid just came from F2. Might cook. Maybe, but he also didn't do too well in F2, remember? So, yeah. Anyways, that's how my standings are looking. Majority of you guys saying 17th to 18th for Arvid. Okay, that was pretty... It looks like everyone kind of expects him to slot in there. All right. Next up, P16. Who you guys think I've got? Oh, they say these cars are much like F2 and Arvid is just from F2. He might cook. I read that. Hulk, Lawson, Hulk, Borderletto, Lawson, Borderletto, Lawson. Hot take, Gasly, Hulk. All right. In P16, and this might come as a surprise for some people, but if you watch my teammate head-to-head predictions, you'll know who's coming in next, and that is Nico Hulkenberg. So I got Nico Hulkenberg in P16. Yeah, reason being, I have Borderletto to beat Hulkenberg this year in the head-to-head. I think Borderletto was matching Hulkenberg last year, and he was a rookie. So I think this year, Borderletto is going to progress even more. Now, obviously, keep in mind, this is a new reg of cars, and I think Hulkenberg struggles to adapt personally. I think he's just an older generation driver who's going to be too stuck in his ways. And because of that, drivers like Borderletto, his teammate, Liam Lawson, are going to be able to adapt to the cars quicker than Hulk. Again, I don't think he's going to do bad. Absolutely not. I still got him to beat Arvid, obviously. But yeah, I think Audi and VCarb are kind of I think they'll be in a battle for their position in the Constructors Championship, and I've got Liam and his teammate Borderletto beating him. Again, I don't think Hulk's going to do bad. I believe in the younger drivers up against a driver like Nico, who's kind of this mid-tier experienced driver. And I don't want anyone to question me saying mid-tier, because he did get matched by his teammate, who's a rookie last year. Yes, he got a podium, but he got matched by his teammate in the head-to-head. So, I don't know. With that said, I do think Borderletto and Liam will have the edge on him this year in the driver's standings. But again, I wouldn't mind either way. If you put Hulk above Borderletto and Liam, I don't think that's a bad prediction. And, I mean, I'd probably say this is a more risky prediction than putting Hulk above those two. But yeah, that's just what I'm feeling. That is what I'm feeling. Good prediction. I mean, I liked all of these, but I think it's the first spicy one. Yeah, I mean, this aligns with my head-to-head predictions, right? Because that's how I do my predictions, right? Like, I do my teammate head-to-head predictions, and then I do my constructors predictions, and then I do my drivers predictions. So I look at my driver and my constructors, and I go, okay, I've got Audi and VCarb here, and then I've got Hulkenberg to get beaten by Bortoletto. So it wouldn't make sense for me to then put Hulkenberg above Bortoletto if I put him, you know what I mean? So I have to make sure my three predictions, like my drivers, my constructors, and my teammate head-to-head actually align. Otherwise, it makes no fucking sense. That's so strange in terms of 20 drivers. P16 sounds absolutely low for Hulk, but yeah, it does. Nico, we mark my words. I respect your decision, but world champ. I think that's a smart play, trying to make my content in the same way. Yeah, I think some people just like, I don't know, just go off vibes, which is completely fine. But I'm like, all right, I need to properly think about this. Although you're very limited with how much you can think about this year with the predictions, because there's so many variables, man. Like, do you focus more on the engine? Do you focus more on the reliability? Do you focus more on the drivers, more on the team development? I don't know. You gotta take everything into account, right? Elephant, David the follow. What was the F1 announcement about? It was just a video advert that they're putting out for preseason. All right, majority of you guys saying 15th to 16th for Nico Hulkenberg. We're kind of slacking in the voting department, guys. Get your votes on the poll in Twitch chat. Okay, so majority saying 15th to 16th, so we agree. 22% saying 13th to 14th, and 19% saying 17th to 18th. Okay. All right. Who do you think I've got in 15th? I feel like there's two options, but who's it going to be? Lawson. You guys think I'm going to put Lawson next? You think I'm going to put Lawson next? Me putting Liam next? You guys would be right. I've got Liam in P15. As much as I'd love to put Liam above Bortoletto, I think I've already pushed my bias enough by putting him above Hulk. So yeah, I got Liam in P15. Again, I do think it's between the Audi and the Racing Bulls. I think Liam is going to have the young driverness to adapt to the cars maybe better than Hulkenberg. And yeah, I think with Hulkenberg's form last year of being beaten by... matched by Bortoletto, I think Liam can edge Hulkenberg. Anyways, to talk about Liam, obviously he's going up against a young driver in Arvid Lindblad. I think it's safe to predict Liam to beat Lindblad, but then no one expected Hadja to be beating Liam last year. So yeah, it's a bit of a make or break year for Liam. If he does bad against Arvid, he's probably going to be gone. So yeah, he really needs to pull through. And I think finishing ahead of Hulk and Lindblad in the championship would be very, very good for Liam. I think Liam's race pace is really good, and I bang on about this a lot on the stream, but Liam has adapted so well in his junior career. He's won the first race of every junior category he competed in, and adapted the cars really, really nicely. Obviously his reserve driver stints for an F1 as well were really, really good. I just think he lost a lot of confidence last year at Red Bull, and after being dropped from Red Bull. But I think he's got that confidence back now, and I think we'll see a new... I think I would like... this is copium, but I think we're going to see a new revised Liam. I think the people who didn't watch Liam in junior categories, didn't watch Liam in 2023... I got to be surprised by Liam this year. I think he's going to come out the gate strong. He's up against a teammate who he doesn't probably have to worry about too much. No offense to Arvid, but I don't know. I just think he's going to have that confidence. I think he's going to build from it. And yeah, excited to see how Liam does this season. And I hope he does finish here. I would like to see him finish above Bortoletto as well, but who knows? All right, what are you guys saying? I just have a feeling Lawson will be very poor this year to the point where he finishes behind Alonso in P19. That's reasonable unless Ford is cooking. I want him to do well. I can see a 12th finish. He shouldn't have had to worry much about Hadja either, to be fair. That's what I mean. Like, he shouldn't have, but I think it was a bit of a mentality thing. I mean, look, Hadja got Rookie of the Year last year, but Liam did better than Hadja for the second half of the season. So, yeah. To be fair, he wasn't far off Hadja at the end of the season. Yeah, I mean, he got more points than Hadja in the second half Liam ended on a positive, so if you carry it on from there, you can have a great season. I agree. All right. Majority is saying 15th, 16th, so we agree on that. 26% say 13th to 14th, 18% say 17th to 18th. All right. Next up in P14, who do you guys think I've got? When does F1 Fantasy normally start up? It changes every year. Last year was like the week of the Grand Prix, but they haven't. I don't even think they've done driver photos yet, so they need those first. So I reckon soon. Bortoletto, Gasly, yes. In P14, I have got Gabriel Bortoletto. Yeah, I think we're still in that kind of block of the Audi and V car boys. But yes, maybe surprising to some people, I have got Bortoletto to finish ahead of Liam and finish ahead of his teammate Hulkenberg. I rate Bortoletto a lot as a driver. I think last year he proved that he can match Hulkenberg, and I think he'll do that again this year, if not beat him. In terms of Liam, I think, I don't know, I just see Audi developing their car better over the course of the season. I think it's interchangeable between Bortoletto and Liam, but I think given how last season went, I think Bortoletto has the potential to do better than Liam, and that's why I've got him in P14. Maybe there's a world Bortoletto finishes higher than this if Audi give him a good car, but yeah, I think it's already a pretty, not risky pick, but like a pretty bold pick to put him above Liam and Hulk. But yeah, I think Bortoletto did well last year, and I think he's going to continue that again this year, so I'm keen to see how he does. All right, what are you guys predicting? Poll is up. Remember, type of the corresponding number in Twitch chat and it'll pop up on the poll. And also let me know in chat why you voted what you did. I agree, Bortoletto will beat Hulk, but it'll be very close. Maybe like, what? Yeah, it's going to be very tight. I mean, again, there's 22 teams fighting for 10 points, which is different to previous years. All right, we'll go back to standing. All right, majority of you guys saying 15 to 16, so you got them finishing, I guess, behind Liam, behind Hulk. 40% of you saying 13th to 14th, and 10% of you saying 11th to 12th. Interesting. Okay. All right. We are past the back-end midfield now. We're now moving into the solid midfield. Now, to give you guys a little bit of a recap of my Constructors standings, this is how it's looking. So next up, we've got Alpine, Williams, and Haas. Who do you guys think I have got in P, whatever we're up to? Who do you think I've got in P13? Albon, Sainz, Gasly, Albon, Gasly, Albon, Albon, Gasly, Sainz, Ocon, Gasly, Albon, Behrman, Gasly, Sainz, Gasly, Ocon, Albon, Carlos. No one has said his name yet. Ocon, Gasly. No one said his name yet. In P13. I think everyone's forgetting about this pick. I've got Isaac Hadjar. I think everyone's forgotten that Hadjar exists. Look, I do think Hadjar is going to do a lot better than Liam and Yuki did. But Yuki finished, what, second last in the Drivers' Championship last year? And that was a condensed, I mean, to be fair, it was a condensed grid, of course. But I don't think the Red Bull is as strong as it should be. And I think the Red Bull is going to be at threat from Haas, from Gasly and the Alpine, from the Williams boys. And I think the trend will continue that the second Red Bull driver will be much weaker than Max. And I think, again, with only 10 points, 10 positions being up for grabs, 10 points, I think he might get beaten out by Haas, the Haas boys and the Williams boys, and Gasly over the course of the season. I'm not going to lie, though, after saying everything I've said today about how the spread's going to be big and how the top four is going to be better than the midfield and yada, 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 I am now rethinking this pick and thinking like, maybe I've gone too harsh on Hadja because of how Yuki and Perez were doing. Forgetting that was a more condensed grid. Now the grid's more spread. And even if Hadja sucks in the Red Bull, he's still going to be able to still get some points. But I also think people are forgetting that, again, this is another second driver coming into the Red Bull team. And like, how is he going to do? Put it this way. I would rather predict Hadja here and he surprises me than do what I did last year and predict Liam in the top 8. And then he finishes, and then Yuki finishes third last in the championship. You know what I mean? I think this is one of those picks of like, I'm going low so I could be surprised rather than going high and just being fucking disappointed again. But yeah, I think a lot of people are overestimating. Somehow, we've had Albon, we've had Gasly, we've had Checo, we've had Liam, and we've had Yuki. And people are still overestimating the second Red Bull seat and the second Red Bull driver. Like, I don't think this problem is solved. I think Hadja has a higher chance than the last 3-4 drivers, but it's not going to change overnight. But again, maybe I do regret this pick a little bit now after talking today, because I keep talking about the spread. The spread's going to be big, and if the spread's going to be big, Hadja can at least pull points. But if the Haas and Williams are as strong as I think they're going to be, I think they could pull more points than Hadja potentially. No, I'm actually sticking to this pick. Maybe I'd put him behind Gasly if I could change this now. I actually don't remember where I put Gasly. Maybe I'd put him above Gasly if I think about it now. But I do think the Haas and Williams could get more points than the second Red Bull driver if the second Red Bull driver continues to struggle. But yeah. Hadja, if you're watching this, I'm not doubting you. I actually believe in you more than... Well, actually, I had a lot of faith in Liam. I believe in you, though. I think you're going to break the curse. Well, I say I think you're going to break the curse. I put it this way. My heart thinks you're going to break the curse. But I have to use my brain when it comes to predictions. And facts say no one can drive the second Red Bull seat. And with that, I have to put you in 13th. Otherwise, I believe in you, man. I believe in you. No way I think you might be finishing top 10. Now, this is the first time I've thought you're insane. This isn't the same curse seat. New car, new potential. Yeah, I'll believe it when I see it. I'll believe it when I see it. I think Hadja will definitely underperform, but I just can't see the Rebel being in a fight with anyone other than Behrman with a new grid spread. Manifesting the RB curse. Unlike the prior Rebel drivers, Hadja has the same driving style as Mac. Yeah, but we said that about Liam and Checo, though. We said that about Liam and Checo, like... And Yuki. Everyone said, oh, Yuki and Max drive similar. Oh, Liam and Max drive similar. Oh, Checo and Max drive. No. If you put Liam P8 and think Hadja doing better, but put him P13. No. Coming into the 2025 season, I had faith that Liam would break the curse, and he didn't. And then Yuki also went in that car and also struggled. So now, looking at how Liam and Yuki did do, I think Hadja's going to do better than them. You can't go back to my 2025 preseason self and be like, but you thought that. No, I think completely different now. People will laugh at you if you finish as top 8. You will laugh at us if you finish in the midfield. Yeah, exactly. But I don't even think you can laugh at me for putting Hadja here, because Yuki literally finished 19th in the championship last year. He never had any faith in Yuki. No. I obviously had a lot of faith in Liam, so once Yuki went there, I was like, well, I don't think this is going to really change much, is it? Checo didn't do awfully at the beginning of the last set, right? Yeah, true. But also, Checo was an experienced driver. You got to remember, Hadja, this is another thing we got to keep in mind here, right? Hadja is a second driver, a second season driver, going up against Max Verstappen at what he said himself is a very different environment team. He said he feels the pressure. He feels like it's this big company watching you perform. He said that himself. And I don't think Hadja maybe will feel the pressure as much as a Liam Lawson or a Sergio Perez or a Yuki. But, you know, it's a very different environment. It's going to be interesting to see how Hadja deals with it. Robert, name of the follow. Anyways, majority of you guys saying 9th to 10th. 25% of you saying 7th to 8th. 18% saying 1st to 6th. So you've got Hadja beating Who? A Ferrari, a Merc, or a McLaren? I fucking hope you're right, you people who guessed that. I hope you're right. And then only one person agreeing with me. Who is that person? Who agreed with me? Shout out you. Hellspawn, Fanna, Broken Lawshaw. Thank you guys for the follows. Better sip that cherry Sakura a few more times. Isaac dominates Max. Just wait. Imagine. All right, this sounds looking at the moment. That was probably the biggest upset so far. All right, who do you think I have got in P12 to round out the first half of the standings? Gazzy, Ocon, Gazzy, Albon, Gazzy, Ocon, Signs, Ocon, Gazzy, Albon. All right, and P12, I have got Pierre Gasly. My twin. Get your votes in on the poll. Where do you think Gasly's going to finish in the Drivers' Championship? Yeah, look, I feel like I've bumped Gasly up a little bit higher than what I expect for the Alpine. You know, obviously when I was talking about the Constructors, I mentioned how I just don't have faith in the Alpine developing over the course of the season and making a good enough car, even with that Merc engine. But I do have faith in Gasly, and I think that is one of the reasons why the team will finish higher than Audi and Racing Bulls. It's because of Gasly. And yeah, again, maybe I'd swap Hadjar and Gasly now because, you know, I don't think Alpine's going to be near the Red Bull. But anyways, Gasly, we'll keep him at 12. Yeah, I just don't think Gasly's going to beat the Haas or the Williams boys. You know, at the end of the day, I think that car's going to be stronger. And I do think, you know, potentially the drivers could be better in certain scenarios. But yeah, I do think Gasly's going to wipe his teammate of Franco. And I do think he has the experience and the skill to beat Hulkenberg, Bortoletto, Liam, etc. Yeah, I think that's just like I think Gasly is just the perfect example of just midfield where, you know, it's hard to tell where the Alpine's going to be. But I know whatever car he gets, he's going to drive it to the best he can. In the Honda years of Red Bull, began winning back then first. Yeah. What? Oh, being winning back then first. Yeah, in 2009, they were close, but ultimately Braun GP won that. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Signs pure Alpine bias, though, on my end. The Alpine bias. Do you think Alpine drop back from where they are now after testing? Oh, yeah. They'll drop behind Williams. If not, then that's an L for Williams. All right. Majority of you saying 11th to 12th. So we agree on that. 22% of you saying Gasly will finish in the top 10. 30% of you saying he will finish 13th or lower. Interesting. All right. That's the first half done. Who do you think I've got in P11? Now, if you went here for the Constructors standings, I have Williams in P6, Haas in P5. And we've got the Williams and Haas boys left, as well as the top 7 boys. Oh, fuck. My neck. All right, Sainz, Albon, Sainz, Ocon, Albon, Sainz, Ocon, Albon, Sainz, Albon. How to vote on the poll? You just type in Twitch chat what you want to vote for. Wait, an ad's about to end. We'll wait for the ads to end and then we'll get into it. It was over. No one's saying Bamman. True. Yeah, no one actually said Bamman. I didn't even think about that. Oh my god, my neighbor's vacuuming right now. It's just, I can see her smashing the wall with her vacuum. All right. In P11, I have got... You should probably know the answer to this if you watch my teammate head-to-head predictions. I've got Esteban Ocon. Esteban Ocon in P11. So, obviously, I have got Haas finishing ahead of Williams in the Constructors' Championship. So I do think Ocon's going to pull his weight. But I don't think he's going to pull his weight enough to beat the Williams boys in the Drivers' Championship. I think it's going to be very tight between Williams and Haas. And if you watch my teammate head-to-head predictions, you'll know I've got Bamman beating Ocon. Not let's say somewhat convincingly. I think Behrman had an amazing season last year. I think beat Ocon in the head-to-head, finished ahead of him in the Drivers' Championship, and it was his first year. So imagine what Behrman's going to do in his second year, where Ocon's even less comfortable. So yeah, I think Ocon's going to do good, just not as good as Williams or his teammate. And, you know, there is a world where Haas finish behind Williams at the Constructors because of this man. So we'll have to see how Ocon does this year. And if Ocon is disappointing, I can see a world where Haas go for a different driver in 2027. Yeah, what are you guys going to say about Ocon? Did I just read Ricardo coming back? Ricardo coming back and being P11. Okay. I just don't think there will be a fight between Haas and Williams, so I predict Ocon to be ahead of both of them. Okay. Okay. Haas versus Williams would be a great battle. Yeah, that'd be fun. All right, majority of you guys saying 11th to 12th. A few people saying he'll make the top 10. More people saying he'll be lower. Okay. Who will he be behind if you guys think he's going to be lower? Gasly? I guess you got Alpine high. Okay, okay. All right. Next up, we move on to the top 10. Who do you guys think I've got in 10th? Albon. Damn, you guys know me too well. I've got Albon in P10. Poll is up. Get your votes in on the poll. Yeah. Again, I think Haas are going to finish ahead of Williams in the Constructors' Championship. But I still think the Williams boys are good enough to be able to bring the points home. If you watch my teammate head-to-head predictions, you'll know I put Sainz above Albon. So for that reason, I've got Albon behind Sainz. And I've obviously got Albon behind Behrman because, again, I think they're going to finish behind in the Constructors' Championship. So it just makes sense for Albon to be in 10th. I do think he's a better driver than Ocon, so he'll beat Ocon once that car kind of gets up to speed. So, yeah, Albon P10. Did Albon finish higher than Sainz, or did the podiums push Sainz higher? I think Albon got more points last year, but the head-to-head was like even, I think. I can't remember. They decided one race one would suck, the other one would drive well. Drippy Burger, what is up, dude? I just think they will be... Alpine will be faster than Williams. Right, right. All right. Once you guys vote, I need you guys to let me type in chat what you guys think so we can discuss it. How to vote, you just type the number in Twitch chat. All right. Majority of you guys saying 9th to 10th, so we agree once again. Okay, so we agree on the Haas and the Williams boys. And Gasly. Okay, majority of you say 60% of you saying 9th to 10th, 12% saying 11th to 12th, 18% saying 13th to 14th. But still, majority agreeing on 9th to 10th. All right. 9th. Who do you guys think I've got in 9th? Sainz, Behrman, or one of the top 7? Top 7? Yeah, top 7. Wait. Yeah. Sainz, Behrman, Sainz, Behrman, Sainz, Behrman. All right. I mean, if you use your brain with my constructor standings, then this one is pretty obvious. I hate it being obvious, but this one's obvious. Because I've obviously got Haas above Williams in the Constructors, which means Sainz comes in P9. Now, I do think Carlos is going to beat Albon in the points this year. I think Sainz started off very slow last year, but he picked it up. And I think Sainz has shown he's probably a better driver than Albon now in Formula 1, and we're coming into a new reg set. I rate Sainz really highly in terms of adapting as well. And yeah, I think once that Williams gets up to speed, Sainz will be getting some solid points. But yes, I do have him finishing behind Behrman. I think because, again, I think the Williams will take a little bit too much time to get up to speed, and that's where Behrman will capitalize on him. But I do have Sainz beating his teammate because, again, I do think he is the better driver. But yeah, again, I think it's going to be very tight between Sainz, Behrman, Albon, and Ocon. It depends on whose car is going to be better for each race, who managed to scrape into the points. Because again, we've got a very solid top 4 and a very solid 8 drivers at those teams, even though I haven't put Hadja high up in my predictions. It's still a very solid top 4. There's only going to be minimal points up for grabs each race. However, reliability is going to come a big play, you know? Oh, a Mercedes breaks down, or a McLaren breaks down, or a Ferrari breaks down, or a Red Bull breaks down. These are the boys that need to be stealing the points. So, yeah. I don't really have anything to add with Sainz. I do think he'll outperform Albon to a great extent than you do. Who's better? Battery is better championship. Yeah, a little bit. I honestly think Hadj will finish in the top 10. Sainz had a good later half of the season. You're underestimating him. I'm underestimating him? I've got him second best of the rest. I think maybe I'm just... I don't think I'm underestimating Sainz. I think I'm just thinking of Behrman more highly. Highly. We're not obvious about this one. Mathematically, you could have Sainz 20 points, Behrman 8, L1's... Yeah, true. Don't forget there will be more mistakes and lockups this season. That as well. All right. That's how it's looking at the moment. Majority of you guys saying... 37% of you saying 9th to 10th. So agreeing on that again. 27% of you say 11th to 12th. And 27% of you think 7th to 8th. Okay. So for the people who say 7th to 8th, who do you have him finishing higher than? I guess Hadja? Or is there someone else? So you'd have him, you guys who voted 7th to 8th have got him as best of the rest above Hadja, I assume. Man, F1 Australia is going to be very, very interesting. So, oh, for sure. I've signed ahead of Behrman. He's more consistent. But you've still voted him 7th or 8th. So you've got him above someone in the top 8. So I'm assuming it's Hadja then, right? For the people who voted that. Anyways. All right. We move on to my best of the rest. Well, actually 8th. Guys, who do I have in 8th, guys? Who do I have in 8th? Yeah. In best of the rest, I have got Ollie Behrman in his 2nd season in Formula 1. The poll is up. Get your votes in. Yeah, man. I'm feeling good about Ollie. Now, I rated Ollie when he came in and filled in 2024. I predicted he would do better than Ocon last year, and he was. And here I am. I'm predicting him best of the rest, ahead of his teammate, ahead of the Williams boys. I feel really good about this Haas. I feel really good about Behrman. And yeah, I think it's going to be tight between the Williams and Haas for sure. But I think Behrman's going to consistently get points when they're up for grabs. And I think the Haas is going to be the car available to do that. Yeah, I just think he is just going to edge just enough points to beat out both Williams boys in the constructors with Ocon doing his job. Yeah, man, I don't know. I feel good about Ollie, and you can't sit here and be like, you're wrong, because I had faith in Ollie in 25 and he did good. I had faith in Ollie, in 24 and he did good. I had faith last year in Ollie and he did good. I have faith again. I think he's going to cook in that Haas. So yeah, Behrman is my shout for best of the rest, and even potentially, I was going to say driver of the season, but they never really give driver of the season to the fucking midfield drivers. But I think he could end up being driver of the season to a degree. I don't know. Well, midfield driver of the season. I guess that's best of the rest. But yeah. What do you guys think, though? He can have his podium this year, you reckon? Ooh, that's going to be a tough ask. This guy is giving us the death day. Look, okay, if he can put himself in a Nico Hulkenberg, Isaac Hadja position, yes, he can get a podium this year. He's still in his 2nd season. No way you're putting him above Hadja. I mean, Hadja's in his 2nd season. I said before, I think Haas will be comfortable in 1st, so unless Ocon finds something, Behrman will be the clear best of the rest. What do you think the order will be for Constructors? We did Constructors before. I'll show them again in a second to help you guys recap. I think Behrman will be the one to get Haas's first podium. Do you reckon Behrman win, or at least a win? No. Podium, it has to be some sort of luck. Dina Shah, thank you for the follow. Also, Satchikat, thank you for the follow as well. All right, majority of you guys saying 7th to 8th. So again, you guys have got Behrman best of the rest. Okay, so for the 21% of you, the 48% of you who have said 7th to 8th, who have you got Behrman beating? Is it Hadja? I guess that is, yeah. And then 32% of you saying 9th to 10th, 14% of you saying 11th to 12th. I don't know why I'm questioning you guys on Hadja. I'm not. It's not I'm questioning it. It's just I felt like no one agreed with me on the Hadja pick, and then now 48% of you are saying Behrman top 8, like, bro. Gasly top 8 easily, you reckon? Okay. All right, so this is how my standings are looking before we move on to the big boys, before we move on to the top 7. Now, to give you guys a recap of my Constructors Championship predictions, I have got Red Bull in 4th. I guess now you know why, because I had just so low. Ferrari in P3, Mercedes in P2, and McLaren in P1. Please keep this in mind, right? Please keep this in mind, because partly the drivers have a play in why the constructors are where they are, but also the constructors has a play in why the drivers are where they are. So I don't want to hear, why did you put this driver there? They're not that bad. But I'm thinking about them there because of the car. Okay? Thank you. Okay, let's move on. Who are we up to? Okay, top 7. All right, in 7th. Oh, this is where it gets juicy. This is where it gets juicy. Okay, I need to preface this by saying, before we rank anyone in the top 7, before we get to the champion, before we get anywhere into this top 7, I am prefacing this by saying, 1, these are predictions. I don't know how it's going to play out. You don't know how it's going to play out. There's no bad prediction. I don't care who you put in 7th and who you put in 1st. There is not a bad prediction this season. I don't care if you put the least experienced driver in 1st or if you put the best driver in 1st. I don't care, right? It is a super hard season to predict. I tossed and turned, but I'm not, like, I don't want you to think, oh, you just put this guy as champion because blah, blah, blah. Or you just put this guy in 7th because blah, blah, blah. Or you just put this guy in 5th because blah, blah, blah. I generally swap this around so much preseason, during the testing, and yesterday when I was doing my predictions. I really sat down and I was like, what can I do? At the end of the day, it's fucking hard. It is hard because how are the drivers going to adapt to these cars? Which is a big... I think that... Keep this in mind. I think the main reason I've done my drivers' predictions the way they are is drivers' form combined with how I think the cars are going to develop over the year. You know, you might come into the season thinking, oh, this team is going to run away with it, so their 2 drivers are going to finish 1-2. That's fine. That's not a bad prediction. I've kind of come into it of, I think it's going to be a tight between the top 4. I think there's clear favorites, as I've spoken about with Mercedes and McLaren. But I think it's a tight top 4, and I think it's going to come down to driver performance a little bit. Anyways, in P7, I have got Lewis Hamilton. I mean, hit me with it. Hit me with it. Hit me with it. Go. Hit me. Go. I got Lewis Hamilton in P7. You know, I've already spoken about, if you weren't here earlier, I'll repeat it. If you weren't here earlier, when I was talking about the Ferrari, I don't think the Ferrari is going to be as good as you guys think it's going to be. Like, I don't think the Ferrari is going to finish top 2, and I haven't got Ferrari finishing top 2 in the constructors. That combined with Lewis Hamilton is out of form at the moment, right? He's had 4 very poor, well, he's had 4 weak seasons. And he's now coming into new regs, which I do think are going to suit him more. Again, in my teammate head-to-head predictions, I did have Leclerc annihilating Lewis, but I changed my mind on that now after testing. I do think Lewis is going to suit these cars a lot more. But I don't think it's going to be enough to beat Max Verstappen, the McLaren boys, his teammate Charles, George Russell, or even Kimi Antonelli in a Mercedes. Look, if the Ferrari does end up being on par with Mercedes and McLaren, I can see Lewis potentially beating Kimi and beating Max. But as of right now, like I mentioned with my constructors pick, I don't think the Ferrari is going to develop over the course of the season like you guys think it will. But that's just my opinion. I don't think the Ferrari hasn't proven to me that they can develop over the course of the season and win a championship. So they're already going up against a very strong Mercedes and McLaren. And then Lewis is going up against Max Verstappen and Charles Leclerc. I think just like statistically speaking, like it's already a tough enough ask to beat McLaren and Mercedes, but then beat your teammate and Max. Yeah. With the way I think the season is going to play out in my head, I think the highest Lewis can finish is P6. That's not me saying I don't think he can finish higher than 6th. No. Again, if the season goes Ferrari's way, he's top 3, top 4, for sure. But in the way that I think the season's going to play out, it's a big ask to ask him to beat Max, a big ask to beat the McLaren boys, and a big ask to beat the Mercedes boys and his teammate. If Lewis somehow finds his form from 2021, God bless. Thank you. Again, this is probably one of those predictions where it's like, I hope I'm wrong, and if I'm wrong, I'm going to be happy. But, which some of you probably won't believe. But if I'm wrong, it's going to be good. But realistically, is he going to turn around 4 years of poor form against 5 drivers, Leclerc, Russell, Max, Lando, and Oscar, who are in great form at the moment? I just don't think that's likely. So yeah, again, I really tossed and turned on this one, but I think I just settled on the Ferrari is going to be Ferrari this year. And sadly, Lewis isn't going to be as good as Leclerc and isn't going to be as good as Max. So naturally, Lewis is going 7th. This is not a, I don't like Lewis, he sucks 7th. This is a, I don't think he's going to be better than the top 6. All right? So don't be mad. Don't be mad. All right? This is where I think you'll end up. Okay? I hope I'm wrong. Right? But when I'm right, I'll call out each of you who roasted me in chat. All right. What are you guys going to say? Get your votes on the poll, by the way. Type in the corresponding number in chat where you think where Lewis is going to finish. Fair, damn, I agree. He is stuck in the ground effect era. Completely agree with you, Lamar. Nah, the moment you started waffling, I knew it was Lewis. No, I was waffling because even some of my other picks are gonna get everyone talking. But I could put Lewis first, and I'd get called a weirdo. So you know what I mean? You can't win. You can't win. Wow, lots of predicting first, eh? It's not 7, it's the 8th title coming. Ferrari will do Ferrari things and mess up. Me and my mum and dad had put Lewis in P7. Damn, that's a smart family right there. The Lane family is popping off. Good courts between age and experience and Kimmy's mistakes this year. 4-week seasons is a wild narrative. How is Lewis's 4 weaker seasons not valid to say 4-week seasons for Lewis's standards? Plot twist. Lewis wins his 8th. I fucking hope. Again, that would be amazing for the sport. I think, again, chat is not as bad as last year for me predicting Lewis where he was. But keep in mind, I got my Lewis prediction right. What was I going to say? Yeah, people think this is just me hating, but it's, at the end of the day, I've got to predict. I've got to put someone in 7th. And I think it's going to be Lewis. And you guys don't understand how much I would love Lewis to win his 8th, man. You don't understand how much I'd love Lewis to win his 8th. But that doesn't mean I think he's in form. Just because I want it to happen doesn't mean I think it will. Pray for Lewis to bring joy. But at 41 now, it's hard to see. Yeah, 4 years, poor form, down 25, ruined my driver's rep. No, he wasn't doing good in 23 or 22 either. Am I tripping? Keep tabs on the names. Oh, we've got it here on screen. This isn't even surprising anymore. I know your stance on Lewis. My stance on Sorry. My stance on Lewis. I got Lewis's prediction right last year. My stance on Lewis. What does that even mean? Predicting. I just spat. Predicting an out-of-form driver who finished 7th in the championship last year to finish 7th. I already know your stance on Lewis. What does that mean? Fabio, what is up? Ha ha ha, just came to say that. Bye. I hope you laugh at me at the end of this year. Actually finished. Oh, sorry, 6. Sorry. He beat a 12-year-old. Sorry, he beat a 12-year-old. I forgot. Sorry, my bad. My name is Lewis, and I've never heard my name this much. All right, let's move on because we've still got some more controversial picks to go. So, despite all that, majority of you guys saying 35% of you saying 7th, 14% saying 6th, 13% saying 5th, 8% 4th, 6% 3rd, 4% 2nd, 15% 1st. I love the belief. I love the belief. You know what I mean? I get it. I used to be a huge Conor McGregor fan, even when he fell out of form. At least unlike you guys, I could admit that he was out of form. But I would go into fights being like, this is the one. He's got it. No. I get the delusion. But when it comes to being serious, you gotta call it a day. All right, this is how it's looking so far. Top six, guys. We are done with the controversial picks. Utkarsh, Alex, Skittle. They guys are the follows. All right, who do you guys think I've got in P6? Leclerc will win. Trust. Imagine if people predicted 2012 Schumacher to win the title. True. I'm gonna say 5th or 4th for Lewis. Conor McGregor got clapped by exactly. JT Saunders, thank you for the follow. Damn! You guys know me too well. P6, I have got Kimmy and Tonelli. Wow, you guys listen. Yo, round of applause for everyone in chat. Round of applause for everyone in chat for listening. Yeah, I mean, look, if you listen to my teammate head-to-head predictions and my constructors predictions, I think this was probably leaning towards this of I just don't think Kimmy is going to deliver like he did last year. I think he'll let down the team to win the constructors over McLaren, and I just don't think he has the ability in him yet, keyword yet, to beat Max Verstappen, Lando Norris, Oscar Piastri, Charles Leclerc, and George Russell, when these cars all seem to be pretty close. Yeah, I do think, again, he's going to have the best car. I do think he's going to be in the championship fight. Maybe that's not the right wording. I think he has the potential to be in the fight. But you know, as Farrow would say, or Nixie, whoever it was, you know my stance on Kimmy if you watch my streams. I love Kimmy. I think he's going to be the future of Formula One. But right now, he is not on the same level as Lando, Charles, Russell, and Max. And until he proves me otherwise, he just factually isn't. He fell off the face of the earth last year for such a big run of races. And he's young, he's inexperienced, and the only thing that I think could upset this prediction is the fact that it's brand new regs. And you've got unks like Max, Lewis, and even Charles now, who are so used to these cars that maybe Kimmy can get the upper hand on them because he just has to learn this car, kind of like, you know, he just has to learn this car. He doesn't have all this prior muscle memory. So that's Kimmy's advantage. But, you know, when you look at a driver like Max and Charles, I don't agree with this on Lewis. When you look at a driver like Max and Charles, they do adapt so quickly. So yeah, maybe it's controversial putting Kimmy above Lewis, but I do think that's coming down to the car. Do I say this? No, I'm going to say this. I think Lewis is going to have a better season than Kimmy. But Kimmy will finish ahead because of the car. I think Lewis is going to have a big turnaround, and I think we're going to see Kimmy. I think we're going to see Kimmy's cracks still showing, but the car will allow him to finish ahead of Lewis. Whereas Lewis, I think, will have a much better season. We'll be like, okay, Lewis isn't bad. I mean, I still think he'll get beaten by Charles, but I just don't think with how strong that Mercedes is, he'll be able to beat Kimmy. Yeah. Do you think Max will join Mercedes in F1 next year? I think he'll leave before he joins Mercedes, to be honest. Dino Saw. Do you think Hamilton can make a comeback? Depends what level of comeback. I mean, I've just predicted him 7th, so probably not. Dick Frankie, thank you for the follow. All right. Majority of you guys saying 6th for Kimmy. Wow. Majority of you guys agreeing. Okay. 7% say 7th. 23% say 5th. 14% say 4th. Wow. Only 7% of you saying Kimmy will finish in the top 3. Okay. I'm glad a lot of us are smart here. I mean, we could be wrong. But I'm glad a lot of us are thinking like, okay, Kimmy might have the best car, but the competition he's up against is so high. And like, yeah. Because I see people saying Kimmy's going to finish top 2. Even, I mean, maybe it was a bit of a jokey prediction, but I think it was Tommy said Kimmy Antonelli world champ. I fucking hope, but I doubt it. It isn't that controversial considering that Kimmy had made less rookie errors last year. He'd have been Lewis. Kimmy has to be a dog to do better than this. All right. The juicy picks aren't over because of how good the season is. Top 5 time. Who do you think I've got in 5th? Actually, before we move on to the top 5, can you guys type out your top 5 championship predictions? Because I don't know, too many people agreed with me on Lewis and Antonelli that I want to know your guys' predictions before I say my top 5 and you start agreeing with me. Yeah, I'm not saying you guys are doing that, but in one message, type out the top 5. Not separate messages, guys. One message. I'll give you some time. We'll run these ads. By the way, if you're watching on YouTube right now, come join us on Twitch. We're doing championship predictions. And you can vote on the polls by typing in Twitch chat. Same with TikTok. Come join us on Twitch. What the fuck is the song? It's kind of vibey though. All right. Verstappen, Russell, Leclerc, Norris, wait. I hope I'm reading that left to right. Okay, so Verstappen champion, Russell, Leclerc, Norris, Piastri. Leclerc, Russell, Piastri, Norris, Max. George, Charles, Lando, Oscar, Max. Wait, am I reading left to right? I hope I'm reading left to right. Russell, Leclerc, Norris, Piastri, Verstappen. Russell, Leclerc, Oscar, Max, Lando. Lando, George, Charles, Oscar, Max. Fuck, these are all so different. Okay, well, actually, I'm just going to read the champion of these. Charles, Max, Russell, Charles, Lando, Leclerc, George, Norris, Max, George, Russell, Max. Now I don't know if I'm reading them backwards or not. Russell, Norris, Leclerc, Lando, Russell, Oscar. Damn, okay. I think that just goes to show how hard it is to predict this season, man. All right. Top 5 time. Who do you guys think I've got in 5th? Latifi. If you don't pick a Merc engine champion, you're crazy. What if I've done the unthinkable, bro? Anyways, in P5, I'm going the opposite of last year. I got Max in P5. Last year, I stuck to my guns. I said, Max is champ. Max is gonna do it. I believe, even if he doesn't have the car, he'll shit on the McLaren drivers. And he almost did. But this year, that Mercedes is just too strong. That Ferrari looks too good at the moment. I think Max is going to be in the mix with this car. But unlike the previous years, Max doesn't have the advantage of this major skill gap over the other teams. You know what I mean? He's also learning how the energy deployment works, how the battery works, how these modes work. You know, he said it himself. Alonso said it. It's less about pushing to the max and being full throttle all the time. It's about deploying your energy as best as possible. And if I'm being honest, from what I'm hearing, everything's telling me that this year is going to be less about driver performance and more about car performance. And I do think Max is being nerfed a little bit. I do think he's going to be nerfed a little bit. I don't think we're going to see the same high-level Max. Not because Max is going to be bad or because Max is going to be worse. I think it's just the cars are reducing the skill gap. However, same as last year, don't doubt Max. Even though this Red Bull could well and truly be hard stuck fourth, I still think he will drive better than Lewis, drive better than Antonelli, and finish in P5. But I just think that Mercedes engine is stronger. Those drivers are going to finish ahead. And I've got Charles finishing ahead as well because that Ferrari looks good. And we know Charles is good enough to drive that Ferrari. We know Russell's good enough to drive that Mercury. We know the McLaren boys are good enough to drive the McLaren. Yeah. Again, one of those predictions where if I'm wrong, I'm happy. If I'm right, I get it right. So, yeah. But as good as Max is, I just think he's going to be way too limited in this car this year. But we'll see. I'm disappointed not paid this year. No, our champ. There's too many variables outside of his control this year, I feel. Yeah, exactly. Last 4 seasons, well, since what, 2019, you could know for a fact Max is going to be high-level Max, consistent driver who will push the car to be the best of its ability. Whereas now it's like he could drive out of his mind, but like, you know, doesn't mean anything if it's just about who uses the battery better. Didn't get that check, did you? Max will be better driver, but with a slower car. The reality is, best driver, absolutely Max. Best car, almost certainly. Oh, yeah. Wait. In case people think this is me saying Max is going to be the best driver, I still think Max is going to be the best driver this season. I still think we're going to come out of the season and go, Max, you were the best. At the very least, top 3 driver, maybe behind Russell and Charles, if those guys are given the car to be able to deliver. But he just not got the advantage he had in previous years with these cars. Edges and Fabi, thank you guys for the follows. I disagree. I think the driver will have a bigger impact. It's weird. I think there will be a bigger impact on the back market teams. I think the front teams, no. Formula 1 fan, on the stream though, dude. I want to say the same, but I got scared. Now, Max is too good right now to be 5th. Do you think Red Bull are so far behind? Yes, I do think they're behind. Again, we could show up to Australia and we're pranked, and Red Bull's actually goated, but I think they're behind. This Red Bull's not been the greatest in the last couple of years, though, and he still smoked everyone. Granted, he fell short to McLaren last year, but I don't think you can count him out. No. Maybe I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. Do you think Max gets any wins this year? Yeah, I think he can get a win. You have way too much faith on Charles and Ferrari. Wow. I got roasted for putting Ferrari in 3rd, opinionated carrot. People overestimate the gap Max has on the others and underestimates the car difference. Yeah, exactly. Charles World Champion 2026. Why do you think Red Bull is slow? I don't think Red Bull is slow. I just think Mercedes and McLaren are strong. Mercedes and Ferrari are stronger in terms of their engine. Anyways, 28% of you say Max champ. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to be completely honest. I had Russell champion before preseason. I had Russell champ after Barcelona shakedown. And I had Max champ after preseason testing 1. Because again, Red Bull showed me they have a good enough car that Max would have been able to win a championship with it, with how good Max is. But this 3rd test completely flipped. You know, McLaren, Mercedes, and Ferrari all look so much stronger than the Red Bull. I just can't put Max as champ as much as I'd love to, and as much as I think he's the best. Yeah. Your predictions aren't very good. Thanks, Debbie. What are your predictions, Debbie? I'm a fun-loving, happily married wife. That's great. Tell me what your predictions are, Debbie. Anyways, majority of you saying Max first, 12% saying 2nd, 14% saying 3rd, 15% saying 4th, 22% saying 5th, 5% saying 6th. Damn, very spread. Very, very spread. Bad boy. All right, here's how my predictions are looking as we move into the top 4. Ribble's sandbagging, you reckon? Yeah, but so is Merc, and so is... Well, I don't think Ferrari's sandbagging. But so is Merc, man. All right, P4. Who do you think I've got in P4? Oscar, Charles, Lando, Oscar, Charles, Lando, Oscar, Charles. So I switched P4 3 times. I'll explain once I show up, but I switched 3 times. All right, in P4, I have got... I got Charles Leclerc. Yeah. Look, I tossed between this so much, but I came to the conclusion, as I mentioned with my constructors, I don't think the Ferrari is going to be on the same potential as the Mercedes engines. I think the Mercedes... Whoa, you guys are freaking out at this? Were you guys not watching the constructors portion of the stream? Yeah, okay, well, to re-explain for the people who weren't here for the constructors portion of the stream, I think it's going to be a championship fight between Mercedes and McLaren, specifically Russell, Lando, and Piastri. I think the Ferrari is going to come out the gate strong, but I think a lot of people are getting pranked by testing. One, forgetting that the Mercedes engine isn't running at its full potential right now. And 2, that the Ferrari hasn't won a championship in 20 years. They choked in 2017. They choked in 2018. They choked in 2022. They were nowhere in 23, 4, and 5. Even if they've got the best car in Australia, I don't have faith in them over the course of the season. Anyways, I've spoken about this already with my constructors. Leclerc, I think, is one of the best drivers on the grid. Top 3. If he's given the car, he can go on to win the championship. But I think the Mercedes engine-powered teams are going to do better. Yeah, I really tossed up putting him higher than this, but I think I had to stick to my Constructors Championship reasonings, which was the Mercedes engine teams are going to be better. And that's why I've got Charles in 4th, if I'm being honest. That's why I've got Charles in 4th. Mercedes are hiding a nasty surprise. They're not sure of their full potential. Yeah. Do you think they'll fumble if they have a good car? That's the other thing. I think even if they're equal to McLaren and Mercedes, which they might be, I still think they're not going to be able to come out on top. I think Lewis will be lacking, and I think Ferrari will be Ferrari. Whoa, so you think Ferrari will drop the ball? Yeah, it's a 24 race season. The McLaren Glaze goes crazy on the predictions. Oscar is a boarding bum. Okay. Get ready for the Ponden paid by McLaren memes now. No way both McLaren in front of Leclerc. You def have P1 Lando, bro. Fuck you. Do you think they'll fumble if they have a good car? I read that. Mercedes are hiding. I read that. I just don't think Oscar's going to be that good with these cars. McLaren were running old spec of engine and was still mega. The geese are spamming. Do you think the engine is going to be as strong even after the rule change? Well, it's not going to change till August. And actually, I mean, that's a good point. Maybe I should have actually looked at this before I made my predictions. But yeah, I mean, you do bring up a good point. The engine... Wait, the TTS.
One other thing to consider, Mercedes didn't give McLaren the most powerful engine spec for the test.
Yeah, exactly.
Per the rules, by Australia, all of the customer teams also have to have the same spec. McLaren were setting great pace during the test, and that wasn't even with the most powerful spec.
I mean, yeah, I took that...
Leclerc P4 is spot on.
I mean, I took that into account already with my predictions. Like, McLaren were already looking solid. And like that little bit they were behind was because they probably didn't have the better engine. Thank you for the 100 bits though, Mr. Hoppy. I'm going to call you Floppy. Yeah, so the engine thing will come in August. So for the 14th race. So, you know, half the season Mercedes will be affected by that. But I think people are forgetting, like, Mercedes have 8 months to fix that problem. So Mercedes are already claiming that the compression ratio isn't even going to do that much to their engine anyway, and they're the strongest. And then giving them 8 months to fix, 7 months to fix that problem. They'll fix it. you know my prediction's gonna be. My prediction is we're not even gonna notice a difference in the Mercedes engine because they would have solved the problems slash made the engine strong enough by then without it. So it's not even gonna make a difference. They'll just have a 7-month advantage of having a loophole that they found, which they deserve because they found it and the FIA said, yeah. Ferraris was always good at building a car over the winter. Their problem is development through the season. Exactly. Mercedes did say that rule. I actually cannot believe that, again, everyone's falling for the Ferrari. It's like the Red Bull second seat. Like, we keep falling for it. But I'm not falling for it. I hope I'm wrong, but like, come on, it's testing and it's Ferrari, bro. We've forgotten how big clowns Ferrari are. This compression ratio will be like flexing wings last year in Spain. We didn't even notice it. I guess the loophole, at least at this point, won't be Merc running away. Anyways, Leclerc, P4. In conclusion, I think if he's given the car, he can go for the championship this year, and I hope he does. But the Mercedes-powered teams will be the ones fighting for the title, as I think they'll be stronger for most of the season. And I just don't have faith in the Ferrari. Like, even if it's Russell versus Leclerc for the championship, or Lando and Oscar and Lewis and all these guys all fighting, Leclerc's still gonna, the Ferrari's still gonna fall short on whoever they're battling. People want Ferrari to succeed, and that low-key blinds everyone to think they'll actually do very well this season. Yeah, I think it'll be realistic. Anyways, majority of you guys saying fourth, 19% of you saying third, 14% saying second, 23% saying first. Okay. Top 3 time. Top 3. Who do you guys think? I have gotten third. Oscar, Lando, Oscar. Do you guys remember what I did with my teammate head-to-head predictions? Well, I had them as even, so that doesn't even help you. All right. In P3, I have got Oscar Piastri. Again, I tossed this up. My heart wanted to go. Oscar is gonna come back firing. He's gonna dip down Lando. I wanted to do it so badly. I wanted to put him above Lando so badly, but I've got to remind myself that second half of the season from Oscar was shocking. And in the first half of the season, when Max was winning, when Max was winning, he was still finishing behind Lando, and he just seems to struggle with low grip cars. And these cars are low grip, and I just have to keep reminding myself that. I'm gonna be honest. My first draft of my championship predictions yesterday, I had Oscar behind Max and Charles. I had him in P5 initially. So I bumped him up 2 places because I was like, no, your narrative is Mercedes engine is going to be good. The Mercedes engine is going to be good. You need to stick to that narrative. And because of that, I was like, yeah, I can't go around saying Mercedes engine is going to be good. The Mercedes powered teams are going to be good. Ferrari's not going to be good as Mercedes, and then put Piastri down in 5th. But I do think that can happen. I do think Piastri could have a poor season. But is that likely? No. Like, I'm so torn because like Piastri was so fucking good at the start of last year, and then it just all fell off. So I'm like, do I put him below Max and Charles, or do I put him up there equal with Lando? Anyways, Piastri, P3. In my teammate head-to-head, I've predicted Piastri and Lando to go toe-to-toe again, even in qualifying head-to-head, and I think Lando just beating him 1 in race head-to-head. And I think that could be the case. I think there's a world where Piastri does better than Lando. And if he does do better than Lando, I don't think he's going to be world champ. Yeah, I think this is my prediction. If Piastri does better than Lando this year, I think it will be because McLaren is in a fight with multiple teams, so Mercedes and Ferrari and maybe Red Bull. And I think that's how Piastri beats him. I think if we have a Russell versus Lando versus Piastri championship fight, like I expect, I think Piastri comes out third of the three. Just because I think Lando's way more chill. He hasn't got that pressure anymore. He's won his championship. And I think Russell's going to be out there gunning. So I think, yeah, Piastri just kind of comes third out of the three. But yeah, man, this is it's so fucking hard to predict. Again, I could not decide on my top 7. Like, I think there's a world where Piastri finishes behind Lewis because the Ferrari's better. Like it's too hard, man. It's too fucking hard. How do I vote? You just type the number in chat. I think Oscar will struggle with low grip. I'm not an aerodynamist or anything, but to me, the McLaren looks like the most aerodynamically advanced. Piastri is normally worse in the second half of the season. You think a struggling Oscar is that much better than an improved Kimi? Struggling Oscar? I don't think Oscar's going to struggle, though. I think it was just a bad time for him. Lando also loves the low grip tracks. Oscar hates them. Oscar will be in the top 3, and because of the years of backing McLaren, Lando will always get preferential treatment, you reckon? All right, majority of you voting third for Piastri. 18% of you saying second. 10% saying first. Wow. Piastri, less percent for championship than Max, Leclerc, and Lewis. So even though most of you guys think Piastri will finish high, less of you think he'll win the championship. 60% of you saying fourth, 8% of you saying fifth. All right. This is how it's looking as we move to the top 2. So, who do you think I've got second? And who do you think I've got as champ? Now, I'll reveal them at the same time. And then we'll talk about second, then we'll talk about first. We'd be shocked if Fry get this shit together. I'd be shocked, because that's where what they should be doing. But I'll be happily surprised. Festivo, they would follow. He's going to have George second, isn't he? George P2, Lando P1, Lando 1, Norris 1. Lando Norris. Norris second, Russell first, Lando P1. George P2, Lando P1 if you know wheel. Just the fact that Ponden thinks F1 has low grip cars, he makes me chuckle. Once F1 adds 750 kilos and halves the allowable downforce per body design, then he can claim there is a low grip car in F1. Anyone want to respond to Gabriella saying that F1 can't have low grip cars? I don't know if I'm in the mood to respond to someone typing something like that out. Lewis next, guys. Lewis is next. Lewis is next. Toto better be pointing at the camera again. All right. What the fuck? My eyelash just died. All right. It is time to reveal who I think is going to win the championship in 2026. In P2, I have got, after much changing, again, I changed my top 7 preseason, after Barcelona, and after testing. And I've settled with Lando Norris in P2, which means George Russell as my champion prediction. I feel like that's the safe one that everyone's been going for, but I did change it. I did change it at one point, but I went back to Russell. Let's talk about Lando first. Poll is up. Where do you think Lando Norris will finish in 2026? Type in the corresponding number into Twitch chat. So, Lando, I think we'll have the car to be at the front of the grid. You know, again, the narrative I already talked about. I think the Mercedes engine-powered teams are going to be the strongest this year. And I think Lando will just edge Piastri. You know, he's coming into a season. He's a great driver. he's got no pressure now because he's won that championship already. I think he'll have it in him to outperform Charles in the Ferrari, Max in the Max in the Red Bull that he will have. But I don't think Lando will have enough. You know, we saw it last year. He almost didn't have enough to beat Piastri. He almost didn't have enough to beat Max. And I think he won't have enough to beat Russell. Now, you might think I'm crazy because Lando did beat Max and Piastri last year. But I think on one hand, Lando is going to have less pressure, maybe improve on the bottling and stuff like that. But I do think he's going to lose a little bit of hunger. And I think Russell is not only going to have the better car, but I think he is going to be the more hungry driver. And I could be wrong. We've not seen Russell in a championship fight yet. But I think Russell is going to be a fiercer, more consistent, higher level driver than Max and Piastri were. And for those reasons, I think Lando is going to finish second. Put it this way. Maybe this is controversial. I don't think Lando Norris wins the championship this year. I think if the Mercedes is the best powered engine, Russell wins. I think if there's another team, it's like Ferrari or Red Bull in the fight, Lando doesn't win it. I just don't think the McLaren is going to be strong enough to beat Mercedes' own engine. But again, I do have them as Constructors champions because of Lando and Oscar both performing at a high level. But I just don't think Lando will have it in him to be able to beat Russell in a Mercedes if the Mercedes is as strong as I imagine. But then again, Russell will be in his first championship fight. So maybe that's where Lando can edge him. Maybe we see a newly reformed Lando. Maybe Lando turns into a Charles, turns into a Russell, where he's just so consistent. But yeah, I don't think so.
I wholeheartedly disagree. I think, as we've addressed already, now that he has won his championship, Norris will be a lot calmer and know what he wants to do. Low grip is also something he's relatively good at. I don't think Russell is great at that, plus he hasn't been in a championship fight yet. There's no guarantee he won't crumble under pressure.
Mr. Dobby, thank you for the 100 bits. I completely agree with everything you said, but I'm just going to back my boy Russell. I'm going to back him. I think he's going to do it. Yeah, I don't really have much more to say about Lando. I think he'll finish P2/3 because of the Mercedes engine, but I just don't. I think if the Mercedes engine is the strongest, the Mercedes will be the strongest car, and Russell, yeah. This is my ending point. Lando, if the Mercedes engine is the best, the Mercedes car will be the best, and I don't think Lando will be able to beat Russell in the strongest car. I think Russell should be able to do it. Unless Russell ends up becoming a bottle job like fucking Piastri and Lando did. I think Russell pulls through. But yeah, nothing against Lando. I think we'll see a reformed Lando, a better Lando with less pressure, new confidence. But I also think Piastri is going to come back hitting as well. I think it'll be a back-to-back Water Nation. Thank you for the follow. Also, Tixie, thank you for the follow as well. I have no doubt in Lando, but I think the Merc will have the better car for the first half of the season to give him the edge. I think we are better to see second Jensen Button getting better after the championship. I agree on your top two with George P1 and Lando P2, but I really think that Max would be P3. I would like that. I'd like 3 different teams in the top 3. Is this the World Championship hotline? Lando races for the money now while George is hungry. I really didn't pay you off enough. I think it'll be a back-to-back title fight for Lando. Back-to-back title for Lando, sorry. These regulations suit him quite well. Yeah, it's so funny how when we were doing the Constructors, everyone was like, McLaren this high? And now I've put Lando P2 and everyone's like agreeing. I don't know. It's interesting. I don't know. You can go any way with the Constructors and the drivers in the top 7. Lando's always better when the car is not the best by a mile. When that was the case in early 25, he got beaten by Oscar so often. Surely Alpine outperform your prediction if Merc engine is good as you say. But I just don't have faith in Alpine as a team. You know, same as Ferrari, right? If even if Ferrari are good, I just don't have faith in them as a team and the development race. Anyways, okay. Majority of you saying Lando Norris champion. 30% of you. 30% of you say second. 20% of you say third. Okay, well, 30% for champ. Interesting. Which means we've only got my championship prediction left to talk about. George Russell. Yeah. George, I think, is an amazing driver. He's so fucking consistent. He drives at such a high level, qualifying, race pace, strategy, everything. I think he's one of the most well-rounded drivers on the grid. The only thing we do not know about Russell is, one, how he's going to adapt to this reg change. But like, that's the case for every driver on the grid, right? How are they going to react to this battery management, etc., etc. But two is, we've never seen George Russell in a championship fight. Is he going to crumble like we've seen other drivers do in their first year battling for a championship? Is he going to feel the pressure? Is he going to make mistakes? Is he going to kind of, claw it back a little bit and think about the long game? It'll be interesting to see. But I personally predict that isn't going to happen with Russell. I think he's just too high level for that to happen. And I think he's got a very solid mindset. And yeah, I think George Russell finishes top 2 this season no matter what. I think if Ferrari have the best car, he finishes second. I think if Mercedes have the best car, he finishes second. If McLaren have the best car, he finishes first. If McLaren have the best car, he finishes second. Maybe even first. I feel George Russell top 2 no matter what. Like, I don't see a scenario where he doesn't finish top 2. Like, the McLaren would have to be out of this world for him to finish third. The Ferrari, even if the Ferrari was out of this world, is Lewis going to be able to be good enough in the Ferrari to beat Russell and the Merc? I don't know. I just think no matter what, Russell's top 2. I'd bet, let's do one of these. I would bet, if someone came to me right now and was like, you have to bet all your life savings, everything you earn, I'd go Russell top 3. Russell top 3. Or if I had to put it that way, if I had to make like a crazy bet, that's not really a crazy bet, is it? But like, I don't know. I just think that's a pretty safe bet. Russell top 3. I feel it. Kim will be a much more threat to George than everyone thinks. I do think Antonelli will be better than what some of us, including me, think. I don't think it'll be better than Russell. George adapted from Williams to Mercedes pretty quick, and F3 to F2 pretty quick as well. My GOAT won the most competitive season of F2 in equal cars. Norris pole by 5/10 with the win by 15 seconds in 2 weeks. Mark my words. George may be favorite, but I don't think this will happen. Just vibes. It's not my hope, but if I was a betting man and I had to bet for the champion, I'd pick Russell. Never bet against Verstappen, though. No, 100%. McLaren never prioritize a driver. Merc do. Well, that's the thing. Actually, we haven't even spoken about that yet. I've got McLaren to win the Constructors because I think Kimi will let Mercedes down in that sense. But in terms of the Drivers' Championship, I do think Piastri will take away too many points from Lando, or Lando will take away too many points from Piastri, which will allow Russell to win the championship. I mean, I think that Russell would be able to win the championship in an equal fight against Lando and Piastri anyway. But then when you throw that in the mix, like, the McLaren boys are going to steal points away from each other. Like, yeah, I think Russell's got this. So yeah, majority of you saying 41% saying first, 38% saying second. Yeah, that's the highest percent. So I think Russell's definitely the favorite to win the championship or finish top 3. 12% saying third. About some basically 80% saying Russell will finish top 2. Wow. All right, guys, that wraps up my championship predictions. This is how the Drivers' Championships predictions have ended. What do you disagree with the most? Let's do disagree and agree with the most. What prediction do you disagree with the most, Hal? Have you done your yearly I'll eat my dick live on stream yet? Oh, I don't think I have yet. Who do you disagree with the most? Max P5. Max, really? Remove that 2 from Perez's position. I agree. Lewis 7th. Hadja, Gasly too high. Max will not be that low. Max is minimum top 4. P5 Max. Can I disagree with everything? If you want. Hulk, Max, Charles P4, Max P5, Hadja, Max, Hadja, and Albon. Disagree. Hadja agree with top 7. Caddy, Max, Colapinto. Max higher. Max and Hadja. Interesting. I think Bamman too high. Gasly at P12 is crazy. Top 9? Max, and if the Ferrari is good, Charles P3 at least. Okay. Max and Hadja higher. Yeah, look, I think at the end of the day, this season is so fucking exciting because, like, yeah, I've not seen people do the same top 6, really, like top 7 predictions. Like, it's all over the place. The constructors are all over the place. The drivers are all over the place. And you also know it's a good, unpredictable season because no one's, like, saying dumb shit like, you're stupid for thinking this, because you got to be pretty fucking stupid to go tell someone else's predictions they're stupid in a season that's so unpredictable. Like, Russell could be champ, Norris could be champ, Piastri could be champ, Leclerc could be champ, Verstappen could be champ. Maybe there's even a world where Antonelli and Hamilton could be champ. Whereas last year, you couldn't say that. Last year, you could say Verstappen, Piastri, Orlando would be champ. If you said Russell or Leclerc, you're fucking crazy. Wait, did I put Leclerc as champ? No, I put Max as champ. Yeah. So the fact that there is an argument that you could have 5 drivers as the champ, maybe even with outsiders of Antonelli and Hamilton. Like, I don't think you're crazy if you think Hamilton or Antonelli win the championship. Do I disagree? Yes. But Hamilton could love these cars and Ferrari is the best team on the grid. Antonelli could get given the best car and just pull an amazing Lewis Hamilton-esque season out of his ass. Like, it could happen. Are we doing 2027 grid predictions? Yeah, we'll do them after maybe a couple weeks, after a couple months. Before the contracts start coming out, the news starts coming out, we'll do them. But after a little bit of the season has started. SN, name of the bullet. Anyone top 6 could win the championship. Yeah, I'd say top 7. But I disagree on Lewis and Antonelli. But yeah. Hot take. Alpine will be the 4th fastest car at the home race. Faster than Red Bull in a future race. Interesting. At some races. Sorry, I read that as home race. We need a mid-season prediction once we have standings. Mid-season prediction. In your personal opinion, do you think Max will be with Red Bull his whole career? Yeah, I don't see him. I don't see him leaving teams now. I think he would just leave the sport. All right. Well, guys, that wraps up my 2026 F1 predictions. Thank you guys all for joining me. Really appreciate all of you watching, all of you who voted on the polls, all of you had a good, constructive discussion. This was definitely less dumb than last year. Either you guys learned your lesson of not doubting my predictions because they ended up being right last year, or this season just so unpredictable that you just can't really sit here and confidently be like, you're dumb. So yeah, very good in terms of like chats and hearing all your guys' thoughts. I'm so excited for the season, man. I think, you know, maybe after 3, 4, 5 races, we're like, okay, there's a clear pecking order. But I think for the most part, there's going to be a very unpredictable season. The development race, how the energy and the batteries are going to work. Who knows how it's going to play out. But I've got my predictions locked in, loaded. We'll react to these at the end of the season. Will I be smiling because I predicted it correct? I hope that's not the case. I really hope I'm not sitting here at the end of the year going, I got all my predictions right, because then maybe it was a predictable season. But I don't know. I feel like even my predictions aren't predictable. I don't know. But yeah, I think for the most part, we'll be here at the end of the year and be like, wow, I really doubted this person. Or wow, I really thought good about this person, this team. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Anyways, thank you guys all for watching. Really do appreciate it. If you watch on YouTube right now, be sure to subscribe down below. Be sure to like and come join us on Twitch. Twitch is the place to be for all streams. That's where you can vote on the polls and stuff like that. Like we were doing. But yeah, YouTube. I'm going to end the stream there. Thank you for watching. Have a good rest of your night, morning, evening, whatever it may be. I'll see you guys in the next one. It is almost the start of the season now. Bye-bye.